Kong, there's more fun to be had. MSN versus MeomaikA. Can they make it past this to the ultimate clown showdown? I think that's what we're qualifying people for here, Warman, at least based on what we saw in the first series.
I think people, for those of you who are new to the scene and you don't remember the days of MSN and his little clown car, so this man, he used to, was it not just him, it was also Dragovan. Oh, it was like a whole thing where they just make the clown car ram and they put the arches in and they put the arches out. And MSN was also a big enjoyer of these types of things. So the circus is on the road, and I feel like MSN has the civilization picked to do so. We have an Abbasid on Dry Arabia, and from what I've been experiencing with Abbasid recently, it's been a lot of villages, a lot of TCs, and a lot of not dying again. And it feels like we're thrown back a few seasons to when they just got those cheap farms and things went crazy. But you're up against Delhi. You can't just do that all for free.
You got to be mindful of the player that we're watching. There is like probably about a 57.8% likelihood that even against Delhi, MSN is just going to try to sneak horsemen, like a lot of horsemen, like
makes sense.
An ungodly number of horsemen. This guy, I said he hadn't been in my KPMMs for a while. The last one he was in last year, I feel bad for bringing it up now. He lost because he went mass horsemen and then hid them in the TC and forgot about them. So sometimes he's a little bit too MLP crazy. But Abbasid is definitely like an absolute comfort pick for him. Same with the idea of Ibids, but MeomaikA yoinked that straight away.
And honestly, with the rest of this draft, we see something that we haven't seen in a very long time. A Zushi ban. I say very long, but last season that was prominent. But now, seeing this out from these two, I haven't seen one single player ban this, but both of them felt very strongly about this. Is it just because of
They're both
Kawasan?
specialists. No, it's the players. Kawasan's an element, but it's literally the players. Like MSN loves Shushi. It's another horseman civ. And MeomaikA absolutely adores Shushi. It's Juganung civ for him. Like, he was very good at that type of build. He's also probably the only person I can think of that would build a meditation garden up with like 12 villages. That's a thing. So, very unorthodox player. But, the other interesting thing here, Japan ban. Like, that one, MeomaikA covets it too much, and MSN knows that MeomaikA wants it. And it's a very good time to ban out Japanese. In terms of signature picks, the main ones for MeomaikA he got were Mongols, and John is a pretty comfortable one for him. House of Lancaster ban is also just another beneficial, it should be banned, and also MeomaikA really likes this civ. So, yeah, it's kind of a bad time to be MeomaikA when you think about what viable bans look like.
It's very crazy to me that we have someone who actually picks JD over French. So, what a time to be alive. And no French pick out of all of these, even with the maps we have in front of us. So, guys, we are ready to hop on in, but I hope you're ready for a lot of shenanigans as them horses are gonna get built this game. Hell yeah. And we see the driest of Arabias in front of us.
The more I think about these two players, the more I realize that I just looked straight at the Civ draft and didn't even care about the map draft. Like, there's just some people, they're going to pick the thing no matter what maps get selected. And MSN, this really is his signature, his piece de résistance, the thing that he looks for the most. It is, of course, the Abbasid dynasty. But MeomaikA, Delhi, in this matchup, I feel like there's ways that Abbasids can pose a threat, but you have to be playing Abba like a god. Like a dancing queen.
I feel like MSN might just pull that off. So, now in this case, with MSN's whole spawn, this is what I like to look at, especially when we're playing against a civilization like Delhi that is very raid heavy, and MSN being the possible raider himself. We want to look at the fact that his gold and his berries are on two so opposite sides, but they're still in line of the same raid. So once you do slit into that wood line on the sides, you should be able to go and rotate quite easily between those two. Luckily for him, this does mean that they're not going to be instantly raided the whole time. The wood line will still make this easy enough for him to gather from, but this does beg the question to, would that second TC be safe? Now, Abbasid, you're playing against Delhi, right? So, of course, you need to deal with the Ghazi Raiders. But is this still a matchup where you will see that 2TC type of play from these people?
I think it has to be earned, not just taken, right? Like we're talking about Delhi, Ghazi massing, a play into sacred sites, and usually what ends up happening there is the bastards, they build a lead and they don't really see a point in the 2TC versus just actually pressing the advantage. Opening wise, I'm wholly expecting military wing here. Just the idea is that, you know, you can try to force your opponent maybe off of his Ghazi timing initially, and there you go, he does lock in the melee wing.
And military wing, oh, I love this. I absolutely love this against something like the Delhi, where you do need to put that heavy pressure onto your opponent and respond to that early, like I said, Ghazi, pretty early on too. Now, this still gives you the option of being able to go for that second TC. That's the beauty of Abbasid. You do have a bit more breathing room, but at the same time, we would be seeing some villagers move over to stone by now. And it does not look to be the case here. So military wing all the way. And now I cannot wait for that horse-on-horse action, because between these two, I think this is going to be a lot of dead cavalry all around.
Yeah, I mean, he's already gathering up some gold, which does indicate he'll be prepping for the hardened on the spearman. In conjunction with, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see him going melee tech on blacksmiths after, like, opening stables, right? So you get spear, stables. It's not a bad comp in the current meta. Like, the whole idea is you overwhelm your opponent because it's much harder to micro with archers when contesting that. And it's not like your archers on the Delhi side are going to be buffed, right? This isn't a Tower of Victory build where they have that extra little bit of oomph to deal with melee blobs.
Now, with your tower, the Dome of the Faith, you are going to have a lot of things that you need to cover, especially when you get onto the sacred sites, and then you start splitting up your units, which is where Abbasid is going to flourish here. And with all that wood he's already got in his bank, he's going to be ready to drop down that stable the moment he hits feudal. Now, 6 on food also tells us he's going to have just enough to start producing himself a horseman the moment that is done too. So we see instantly getting that upgrade. But let's go take a look at the military buildings for a second to see what he popped down. Is that going to be a double stable, right? Or an archery range in a stable?
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
So he's going. So interesting enough, like after we highlight melee blob very strong, he's actually just going for the archer composition anyway. It is kind of nice though. I get the idea for MSN. You know, like Delhi have better cavalry and they have healing, so melee blobs can be a bit weird. And the other thing we have to remember is military boot camp. It buffs infantry HP. So if you want to get the most bang for buck out of it, archer plus something else makes a lot of sense. Like it just makes your boys very bulky on the backside. I wouldn't be surprised to see this become 1-1-1 if MeomaikA does the expected though and drops stables for Ghazi.
Well, the first horseman is also in queue, and we see another archer being queued up as well. This is just going to mean the action is about to begin, and I honestly believe that MSN might be able to out-aggress MeomaikA here, just because of the fact that he's already got so many units on the map, and he's already trying to get him from multiple sides. So even if MeomaikA starts producing, he's going to need to split his units well, and spears, they are not going to mind fighting that off against a Ghazi, and we do see a stable being dropped down, so that's going to be the choice here, but MSN needs to be careful. Those spears are so important to just keep alive, at least the first while, because he's not making any more.
Yeah, I think MSN was focusing on how do I stop him from fighting me from inside of his base versus how do I just deny the most likely comp coming out. He's now fixing that by adding the racks, but this does mean the Ghazi can actually bully you away, which is why MSN's backing up so much, showing a bit of respect here, because the initial Ghazi are a problem. You know, 2 or 3 of those bad boys with skulls behind them, you're not really going to be able to stand your ground as MSN, not until you've got the full 1-1-1 comp.
I'm honestly a little surprised at how long it took for MeomaikA to actually get that stable down. It felt like it took a little bit longer than we see out of most delis here. And now with the Ghazi Raiders being out, he does need to be careful not to take too much damage on them initially, and that's exactly what happens there, but he does get a victim. These bad boys will be backing off, and they should be able to get healed up pretty quickly. He's only got 3 scholars right now, so this is going to take a while, and he does need to be careful of that in the future too. MSN investing in a lot more spears as well, as MeomaikA has not doubled or went into the direction of any other units, so he knows he needs to make spears to handle the Ghazi numbers, but the horsemen, they are increasing as well.
I'd suspect the reason why the Ghazi timing took a little bit longer than you'd like to see. I'd have to replay check, but I wouldn't be surprised if MeomaikA had his woodworkers building the Dome of Faith, i.e. when they completed that task, they went to wood afterwards, because you want to gather food. Like, MeomaikA is he's very linear in his approach to how he likes to construct things. That's why you kind of get those MeomaikA memes about teching up with 20 workers or whatever. Or like I said earlier, you know, teching the feudal with 12 villages. Like, this is the guy that would do it. Like, it's weird and it sounds really inefficient, but he seems to be comfortable with the style, and it has actually netted him quite a few wins in the past.
Now, the spearmen were Dark Age up until this point, which makes sense to those spearmen not being able to kill the Ghazis who got on top of them. But now they will be feudal variety, meaning they will actually be able to do some damage. You do see no villagers going down here as the villagers pull back just in time, and MSN not optimizing those attacks just yet. And usually this is where things differ from the usual games that we watch. We are now getting into the point where these people are qualifying for the top 16. The games that we've seen before against the players from the top 8 might look very, very different, with them always optimizing every single attack they can. MeomaikA, though, he's looking for some blood. He's trying to make this work with the Ghazis, apparently going right past because he knows where the majority of the army is. But does this mean MSN chases behind or just goes for a counterattack?
Well, he actually gets baited into a fight here. I don't know, MeomaikA maybe wasn't expecting the whole army to be chasing. I mean, he has the scout, so he knew it. The good news is, it's a case where MSN is not actually contesting with the archers in MeomaikA's base. Like, unless there's a group of them hiding underneath all the scribbles on the map. I think there's like maybe 2 horsemen hiding there, but there's no archers that can easily just creep in and find worker kills now while the Ghazi aren't there.
With the reinforcements now coming straight from the base, it means that this horse pack is going to need to turn around and go back to the base, with the archers going for a little bit of aggression there onto the side of MeomaikA. But MeomaikA is now switching to his own archers. The problem is just MSN has a lot of them, and now adding a camel archer in the mix too.
I do love how you can see MSN's indicate plans here just by the scouting pan. Just a giant red circle just drawn around MeomaikA's base. Like, we must contain him here. Problem is, it's not fully working. Like, MeomaikA doing this dance in the mid-map, as long as he doesn't lose troops here, it's just buying vital time for the next step. Like a double up, like Archer plus Ghazi versus this 1-1-1 type composition. You know, defensively, I see the plan for MeomaikA. For MSN, he is at least doing a good job by denying these sacred sites where he can. Like, that is really where the Delhi's economy gets out of control. Whereas for MSN, his cool upside, of course, is that 15% eco gathering from the Golden Age, which is online now.
And this feels okay for MSN. Now, usually with Avocet, by this point, you feel a little bit of pressure from your opponent, but MSN, he's the one putting on the pressure. He does need to be careful here. With MeomaikA now having 12 archers already, this is going to start being an instance where those spears get sniped pretty quickly. You do see blacksmith upgrades coming in from both of these players, and bootcamp as well.
With undermesh, like, I mean, the timings look really good. MeomaikA did get a blacksmith in pretty early, but like, he wasn't prioritizing range tech, so he has been caught off guard by this.
Now, the problem is those Ghazis, they keep taking fights, they keep picking off a unit, and then they go back and heal up to full. So, all of a sudden, this army that MeomaikA has, they're just gonna constantly be reinforced without losing any. And he's making sure that his engagements really matter. MSN is going to struggle after a while, but now the Ghazis are going to look for yet another attack. And the berries is going to be exactly where their target is. Let's go see. Those villagers are sitting ducks, or 1 spear to defend them all. Oh,
2
now
spears.
2.
Oh, whoa. I'm sure they will do well against 12 Ghazi. Actually,
And
sorry,
those-
11. They're not that powerful, right? Oh my god, the villagers. I mean, the thing is, MSN knew this was going to be a problem. The Ghazi ran by here earlier. They saw this. So the ultimate punishment coming in. MeomaikA now with a worker lead. And no counter-offensive out of MSN. Meo's even just going to hang around to trade out against the spears.
That's the beauty of having so many Ghazis as well. He can just now force that army back, and MSN is in a tough spot where he needs to make a decision about making something happen. So he knows, I just lost villagers, I can't just go and chase, but he says, let me go and chase. That's exactly what's happening here now, trying to make a little bit of a circle around to intercept those Ghazis if they dare step back. But we do see red dots moving over to the
they're going
deer,
again.
so this just means that the Ghazis are going to get more kills.
Oh, the outpost, MSN! The timing could not be worse. Meo finds another strike in. There is a counteroffensive underway. A dive into the base. The archer positioning MeomaikA. A bit too focused on his Ghazi there. The archers didn't pull away quickly, so the horsemen got some great value in there. And it should lead to some work, because, I mean, this type of army size, you've got to be considering the fully fledged dive.
Now that TC is firing away and doing a really good job at picking off some of these units. We do see that the unit difference is... Oh, he's attacking more.
Wait,
10
shivs?
villages.
Oh, the shivs. Wait. Has he got textiles? Because they can stand there for a long time if so. He's targeting down the archers. No textiles from MeomaikA, but MSN lost additional workers on that berry raid. Another 2 down. He finally gets the first worker kill. But the army size is not looking that impressive. The problem is striking towards the tree line. It's dense. A lot of workers there, so a lot more shiving value. Should be a few archers left to try and maybe eke out an even exchange here. There's a lot of low HP bars. So after all that hoo-ha about a lot, it amounts to nothing, as both players will reset at practically the same work count if it wasn't for the fact that Meo just went in to get the last laugh on MSN's gold.
Now, a lot more villagers falling like flies here, but this feels like MSN could possibly have saved himself, at least for a while here. Now, these camels are trying to make their way back to the base, but keep in mind, these are archers. We don't want to be fighting those Ghazi raiders just yet. The problem is, he's hungry, he's desperate, and the Ghazi raiders, they know it. He doesn't have the spearmen to actually try and defend this, and replacing these horsemen is proving to be very difficult because he just does not have the food to make anything.
Yeah, this seems like a race to 0 villages between the two, man. And that's where Ghazi thrive. It's really hard to outshine them. It's crazy as well. If MeomaikA just remembered textile on that dive, I think he's probably 10 eco ahead at this stage. And MSN just has no chance to stand up. I mean, his spawn is still meant to be really good, right? He played Fort Berries, but if you think about the deers, if you can just wall them in, raid shouldn't be variable here. He never chose to. Instead, he thought he could just take the berries. And I understand the thought process. MSN was fully pushing. So this is once again the idea of like reinforcements will be coming by here, right? But with the way it played out, MeomaikA avoided the fragile state of his early Ghazi scaling to get to this point. This is the break point for so many people against Delhi. When there's this many ponies, what the hell do you do?
And the answer is going to be make units here, because clearly, but MSN is looking for a little bit of blood here too. He did pepper up some villagers before, so he knows that these are still going to be low, at least for a little while, because they killed a ton of these scholars as well. So they're not able to heal up as much. But again, he caps the sacred sites, looking absolutely fantastic with all of his presence on the map. But the problem is, MeomaikA's presence is just as overwhelming. Now, he is going to that forward pack of deer. We see a red dot right there on the forward pack of deer, but we do need a little bit of a tower to ensure everything doesn't just fall and die.
Wonder. That's just the point where Meo can start securing sacred sites permanently. I mean, he's got 20 archers. Wall-ins seem quite easy here. And MSN also just doesn't have much burn power to do anything about it realistically. Also, the fact that he hasn't been going back to horsemen means the flank sacred sites are uncontestable for him.
He's got his one horse to go decap when he can, but the villagers, again, just so many here, and it shows the sign of desperation. He needs food, and he knows that the villagers standing there waiting for better days, tower firing at the Ghazis, trying to at least get some damage done, but the Ghazis realize, hey, we're made of steel. Let's actually shut this down. Spearmen not daring stepping forward, and more villagers may just fall because of it.
And looks for the snipes now. We'll at least target fire down one. Archer is just going to forward. Sacred sites are now locked in, so MeomaikA is going to have plenty of bread in the basket to feed the family with. The archers, they're still just frontlining here. I love this move. Just bogging down the spearmen so the Ghazi aren't getting struck. MSN will start to pull back a bit, but maybe a bit too far there as he does reveal his archers. Neo just willing to trade this down now. But the state of things is a 5-worker lead and a huge abundance of gold coming. 375 gold a minute with the triple sacred site cap. A move that MSN currently has no clear answer to.
Now, he does have 2 horsemen in the queue to try and get that map presence back to shut down, but he uses this full army to push the middle one. He just wants to ensure that he influences this gold trickle at least a bit. But the problem is, with the army standing on top of the sacred site, it opens up MSN's base for yet another raid. The Ghazi raiders decide against it though, not going to be going too deep, not risking any of these lives. But we do see More villagers on deer standing all around. Ghazis may have changed their mind just a bit, and they do see the horse going to decap. But that just means they know exactly where to go. The base where there are no defenses.
It's also MeomaikA's macroing. Macro MeomaikA today. You know, or Meo macro. He's getting ready for castle, which makes sense. Like, you know, MSN does have a decent number of spears, but nothing a war elephant couldn't easily consume. Those Ghazi are going to start forcing some idle time at the back of the base. I mean, the problem for MSN is, like, you can't really attack and defend with the way you configured your base currently. You've got no walls, limited outposts, and a lot of exposed workers.
And it looks like MSN learned from his last experience and said, I killed workers. I was able to get back into it by just pushing. Let's just do that again. So the spears now pushing backwards towards the Ghazis, while the archers were edging forward, but decided to change their minds here. MSN now having no food in the bank. This poor guy is spending every bit of resource he has, but 30 archers does feel quite scary here, especially considering these do have boot camp.
And that's why MeomaikA is going to take the opportunity to get the hell out of Dodge. House of Learning now on the way in 45. MSN a little bit hesitant to step up. You notice what happened there. The archers around the central sacred site were thinking about it, but without any horsemen or spearmen nearby, he was reluctant. Nice little snipe here on the east side berries. We'll be able to find and cut down 3 workers. So shrinks the lead that Meo had been working hard to build up. The House of Learning, I mean, MSN, he needs to be a bit further forward to feel in an advantageous position here, because Meo, with his current economy, could just straight up go into queuing up a war elephant.
And then those upgrades won't even matter. The problem is just he does not have any gold just yet, so did not prepare for this. But the Ghazis get surrounded and the archers are peppering them up. We just see Ghazis falling like flies, but this just solidifies the idea that he doesn't need to upgrade those. Instantly going for the archer upgrade instead, and going to queue up a lancer for himself. Now those armored units are going to be quite difficult to handle, especially with no camels, but spearman numbers, and as I say that, Emerson's like, oh, I'm probably going to need camels for these. Don't you worry.
The debuff is quite nice, and he's nice and plump here. 42 archers. There's going to be lancers coming out. MSN has still got a decent amount of space to deal with that quite well. The veterancy for archers should not take long, however, for MeomaikA. The weird part is that the veterancy on archers versus bulk feudal archers, it doesn't perform as well as you'd think, because the whole idea is that your vet archers will just overkill a lot. So kind of what's more important actually is things like the Undermesh 2, Steeled Arrow 2, which he has at least got the Steeled queued up. No double blacksmith play, however. Meo hasn't picked up a single relic though.
And this is something we expect to see from Delhi pretty quickly. MSN, though, he's picking up villagers, and just like that, almost equalizing that villager count. But this, those shivs are poking hard, these poor horses. But they are going to go in for a second attack, trying to get yet one more villager. Villagers, again, fighting back, and they will not be dying there today. But the Ghazi Raiders, they are the ones being aggressive right now. But keep in mind, those are still feudal age Ghazis. They're not really going to make that much of a difference against the horses just yet. But we do have a significant portion of archers here from MSN, and he is thinking about castle himself right now.
It's not easy to achieve. Needs some sort of win in the fight while he can. Holding the choke point. He has got the mass range advantage, but the problem is there's now Ghazi plus Lancers upgraded, ready to brawl. I mean, the veterancy for Ghazi, actually, he hasn't even queued it. He missed that entirely. There's not that many of them. On top of that, just a few Lancers with chain healing can actually hold their own for quite some time. MSN, still in a staggered retreat. He's about ready to start a tech up, but it is going to come at a cost. Think about all the units you could have right now, and all the heavily armored units you're worried that Meo could be building into.
And he is able to snipe out a few of these horses, but the Lancers are barely taking any damage. As he's kiting backwards, Economic Wing is taking ages, and he's just not making any more units here. These archers, they're retreating, but how many is going to be left when he hits that castle age? We see more camels being queued up, and he needs the spears to try and impale all these horses, but Meo is overcommitting a little bit.
He's overcommitting to that house. The archers got stuck on it. If he was moving in tandem with them, I don't think MSN even tries to trade there. But MSN has got big problems. You know, the plan of playing out into the map is feeling about as outdated as the instant messaging service here. He's going to try to creep away, but I think maybe the Scholar saw the mill, and if he saw the mill, you start to get a bit suspicious here.
Scholar is going... Yeah. But him now straight going for that relic. You know he's got one thing on his mind. And MeomaikA, it does seem like with this type of play, he's trying to focus on one side at a time. And this might be MSN's saving grace, with him being all the way out there. And the Scholar realizing, hey, there are no villagers here. This is not going to be something too crazy. But the villagers themselves, from MeomaikA, as the resources are getting more and more depleted, they are moving a little bit inwards. MeomaikA, though, floating a lot of resources here. And usually when you have that much food, you don't mind making some elephants.
I mean, I'm not sure what he's planning to make here. Like, for a second, it almost looks like fast imp, but you don't really have that many scholars for a fast imp.
And no gold. He's not focused on the gold whatsoever. He hasn't moved towards the back gold yet. He is still just putting a ton on wood. He realizes I need some use out of these, out of this food, but I guess the best answer for him will be archers. The problem is just, he's up against a lot of archers himself. And aren't they just going to be better?
They should be, with composite bows especially. The problem here as well is, like, this is kind of a classic Mio macro. He's a very big gatherer of one resource at a time. Like, we've seen it a lot in the past. Like, I think that's what happened to food, and then he shifts all of them across into wood, right? Like, some people like to keep this very methodical approach to their economy, whereas MeomaikA is very much a believer of move one spot, move one spot, move one spot. And it has served him well in the past, but it does feel like it's been burdensome here, considering, like, Mass Knight should be your bread and butter now that Homeblades is complete. But the gold has been slow to catch up.
Now the composite bows has been clicked up, so it does look like this is going to be an okay fight from the spearmen. Not noticing, ooh, but they get us around, and the archers are going to be able to pepper some of these. Another one falling, 3 down. Our 4th should be falling, and that is a pretty massive pickup, especially with the amount of gold MeomaikA does not have. Oh, well, he's got 5 relics, though. It's not going to be too long, right? He doesn't need to gather
He'll fix
gold.
himself. And also he'll have the food soon. So this will be a farm transition to begin soon. He's not going for any stones, so we're not going to get any cheeky keep drops. MSN, of course, already clustered in the corner. That's going to be the value of the things like the eco wing, just to land and get the agriculture tech eventually, as he gets into a farming transition. So, like, his economy should be better down the line. But for now, MeomaikA, especially with the 5 relic pull, then you consider all the free techs he gets in a happy position within reason, because, like, he hasn't actually answered this yet. Composite bows is something that's very easy to forget about when we rarely see a Basset anymore.
Now, this feels so strange to look at, to see 700 gold per minute, knowing it is all from passive resources. And I don't know if MSN is aware of how urgent this could be. He needs to actually be the one to force MeomaikA to stay in castle or do something about this economy. Because sure, you do have equal villages, but do you realize how tough this is going to be once you let the time continue ticking? Now, Scout is being remade from MSN as well, as he realizes that vision is super important, but the Lancers are trying to find their way around. Composite bows should be able to deal with these pretty well, but it's still going to be a tough fight, especially with about 80 archers going to be raining down upon them.
And the push-up timing does make sense here, right? Homeblades, actually, weirdly enough, wasn't queued. So this Lancer wave, it's not really that big, but it's definitely DPS missed out on. These choke point fights, though, I mean, 20 archer lead. You gotta feel to some degree it should be good enough. We'll see as the trades do begin. The Lancers need to forward to bait out the Spearmen. Damage pretty good into them, actually. The heavy cavalry just kind of struggling to stand their ground against this much arrow fire. And MSN starting to push forward a bit further. The Lancers are now going to shuffle in. There's not many Spearmen left over here. They've been intentionally target fired down to remove the threat. It looks like MeomaikA may have him bent over the barrel here.
And this is the beauty of having Lancers in your composition. The fact that they can absorb just a few shots of these archers just means that your archers can push back as well. We have to keep in mind, though, Gulams are now joining this party, and MSN should be able to slowly wear down a few of these. MeomaikA still investing into the archers, and he does push them back, but we have to keep in mind the reinforcements are coming.
Second wave.
MeomaikA just needs to be careful to overcommit here, because now MSN is also the one transitioning to farms, and he's doing a pretty good job at that at the back. And we see another TC as well. Very nice.
Okay.
MSN, he recognizes, I do need to find a way to get ahead. My opponent has everything. What am I going to do?
Yeah, I think that's like realistically as good of a fight as MSN could ask for. But like you mentioned, the farm detail on the backside is the problem, right? MeomaikA have been stockpiling like crazy for that. I think if he actually had his troops rallied in, just a trickle line, we'd probably see MSN with practically no army left over, right? Because you have to remember, at the end of that fight, we saw like 15 walk away, and he had something like 40 archers total, 50 archers total. So there will be kind of a stopgap here, but like the one thing that does concern me a bit is it's almost like MSN doesn't think MeomaikA has farms. Because he's building Gulams, which are great against archers, but resumed Lancer production, they're going to really struggle against.
The problem is, MSN is also now on 3 TC. So, oh, is that 4 TC actually? Now that I look at it. That looks like
Wait,
a 4.
that is actually 40s.
Yeah. So he's really trying to get control of this. The thing is, he still hasn't invested into walls, and he's seen the Lancers several times on top of his villagers. So if a few Lancers just make their way to the back of those farms, he's absolutely cooked, and he still hasn't been able to catch up with this army mass from MeomaikA. But keeping in mind, a major proportion of this army mass is just a healing unit. So it doesn't really make that big of an impact when you're busy pushing out without those. So MeomaikA running around now, not realizing how much there is actually to try and attack.
It's actually crazy. Like, if MSN wins this game, it's wholly because of that tree line on the left side. It's crazy. Remember, the berries were about to get raided. He shifted away. MeomaikA didn't send anything over to find what happened there. And then it developed into a TC strat. It's now developing into a farm area. It's now going to begin the walling for him. Like, it's all coming together from that point. And if you think back to the amount of workers out there, if that had been discovered, MSN would have nothing to try and stay alive with here. It's crazy how much of this game could be, like, kind of analyzed and decided by what's happening on that left side of the map.
Now, MeomaikA is nearing pop cap, and you have to consider that once this man hits pop cap, what happens next? Of course, you're just going to get to a position where you get to go Imperial, and with those only healer units, you get to research as well. And now in Castle, you've reached that point where there are no more things to research, so we might as well just research fast into the next stage. But MeomaikA actually says, nah, let's attack. And he's going again for the front of the base. He spots that second, or for him, this might be the second TC. And gonna give a signal that, hey, I need to shut down this economy.
He's like, oh, okay, you went 2 TC. And I'm just looking forward to the part where he dies doing it. Oh, it's 3 TC. He'll never know it's 4 TC. Crossbow switch also from MeomaikA now. Interesting. I mean, the Lancers would have been good enough on their own, but the thing you have to remember is at this stage, if you're pop capped, then actually it becomes about efficiency for population, right? And crossbows per pop slot should feel a lot better than archer per pop slot.
Now, it does seem like this army is now trying to gather to the back as this next is pushing in. MeomaikA probably feeling very good about destroying that second TC, knowing that he's going to keep MSN under control in that village account. But MSN rallying all his units backwards to try and take the most optimal fight.
That's it.
Doubling down. Yeah.
He stopped the worker production advantage. He now has control of the day. There's no way Abbasis would build several town centers. It's unheard of.
That'd be crazy. But he's also going to be able to idle this eco here. But we do see the prelates now. They are here to support, and they should be able to help heal here. The Gulams now coming to the front lines. Prelates standing at their scholars, standing at the ready to just heal up anything and everything. The dares hit their units, and the Gulams is providing that beautiful front line here. The archers trying to get rid of these lances, but there are so many of them, and more coming as we see the red dots just rallied right forward here.
I mean, MeomaikA can hit the farms now. He's pushed him far enough away. The Gulams do not contend against these lancers well at all. It's just all about positioning. MeomaikA, I think the biggest problem he's got here, the thing he's going to like take away from this is practice fighting around buildings. He just keeps getting griefed by the infrastructure with the A-clicks. His archers keep stopping. Lancers, where did they go? They went for the workers, but the trade-off does mean your archers are now getting sacked. They do not deal with Gulams well at all. You're seeing how much shots it takes just to bring one down. The scholars are making a decent difference here. And we have to remember MeomaikA has got reserves to just pump a new army, but For a man who's up at 200, he just tossed away the pop lead entirely.
And doing this, he might have thought to himself, hey, I need to kill a few villagers to really make this worth it. But at the same time, if you're killing the villagers, you're not busy killing the army. And you have to ask yourself, is that the time to do so? But the scholar is now dying. It tells him very clearly, no. More villagers falling like flies. And he might feel okay with this. But the army mass from MSN is just going to keep increasing with this farm economy absolutely booming. Now, MeomaikA, 2.1k food per minute. He's not in a bad spot either. MSN is still not at that level just yet.
Yeah, but it's not really far off. I think MeomaikA's mindset is that he killed enough economy because there's not that many TCs. But there is. There's that many town centers that MSN doesn't care that you shut down the farms temporarily. Like, Mio's got to switch to Ghazi, which I wholeheartedly agree with here. Like, it's 77 archers. He's really been struggling to deal with this. We have to remember that it's a rare sight to see the Abbasids with the increased attack speed, right? Like, the archers are S tier, or bare minimum A tier. We just never see them, so it's easy to forget. And I feel like maybe for Mio, it skipped from his mind. Lancers have finally discovered this TC, by the way. It has existed peacefully for about 15 minutes, this area for economy gathering. And a castle drop now coming in that will be successful. I don't know, unless Mio techs in the next 2 minutes, I'm starting to feel pretty MSN favored here.
Now, MSN is going to be losing most likely losing that TC now that it's this far out and he knows about it. Oh, I guess MeomaikA needs to make the decision now. Am I going to go for those farms or am I just going to go and shut down this economic lead that he is still building? And he's been very set on the economic lead up until now, but he says, let's push forward, let's go straight for the base, and let's see what we can do with the landmarks instead, as that army is still pretty scary here. Those AS tier archers are going to be very necessary, but they do not move as fast as they need to. And right now, they need to move forward quickly.
Yeah, MSN, he thought that was going to be his tech opportunity. He just saw him reinvest. Crossbows, Gulam on the way. If he can get just like 15, 20 Gulams out, the Ghazi shouldn't really be that much of a threat. And finally, MeomaikA is making the move. It doesn't look like a MeomaikA move, though, because there's only 9 workers building a landmark.
And it does feel like this is just him trying to do that natural progression of the game, but at the same time, natural progression, we've also might have been able to see an elephant or two, you know, or spending of the resources to get to max population, but now he's attacking while going for Imperial at the same time, and this is the problem. This could be so risky for him. But he's got a lot of horses here, and they could do devastating damage here to MSN. But MSN is in position. He gets to make a choice now. Am I going to go for these horses, or am I just going to rotate towards the archers that are right under the TC? Villagers running for their lives right now, but the archers firing away, enticing MSN to split these up himself.
Yeah, just a little bit of a ride by and a back up here, and a lot of upgrades now on the way. Like, the urgency is in MSN's core. He needs to reach max pop, then start triggering a tech up. Can't be left in the dust long here. We have to remember the advantage for Delhi comes in fast in Imperial. They pay nothing. All those elite upgrades, all those things that they're getting queued up on the right side, free.
Especially with 24 scholars, that does not feel like something that MSN has a lot of time for. And he's got 4 on gold right now, so going to go Imperial pretty soon as we see the food stacking up too. But at the same time, the economy count is pretty even here, and he needs to be very careful to not just constantly lose out on units. The archers, though, they should be able to pick off a few of these horses, but they are just running for their lives as he's trying to save the lives of these units with the reinforcements from the back. And now these horses are going to be falling like flies, but we do see a lot more Ghazi Raiders in queue.
I think you're still happy with these trades, though, right? Like, it's just mainly mass archers on a few Gulams coming, and at the same time, it's keeping them away from your base. MeomaikA's next wave should be able to just kind of cut down this split force here. And it is just more and more Ghazi. Ghazi that are about to get elited, remember. That's a big problem here. MSN only has 1 unit in his 73 army that can contest Ghazi. And it won't be able to contest them on it. Now it's none. No units in his army that deal with Ghazi.
Not in their current state. And he is going to take a very long time to get to Imperial himself. And he's not making units while at the same time. He is just aging up. We can see nothing in the queue. There's no front line being created. He is just waiting for Imperial. And I think this is usually where the small differences are going to start coming in. We do see the archers eventually killing a Ghazi after a million arrow shots, and the Lancers dying faster than the Ghazis.
Not so sure about dealing with those guys. Big wave of cavalry coming in. Remember, MSN, he's in big trouble here. He's down to 150 pop. His economy consistently being kept in check here. And MeomaikA is looking to checkmate it. Where do you run? A castle is not going to protect you against this much cavalry. And he's still a whole minute out on the culture wing. And a minute beyond that from getting elite techs. He tries to switch into camel riders. 10 get queued up. They take a long time to produce, though. And the farms are about to get shut down.
And the problem is not just all of that. It's the fact that there is going to be no more production alive. Because, or on the go, because there's no resources to do so. The villagers, the archers, everything in shambles right now. So we see 18 idle, an equal economy between the two when an ambassador has 4 TC. That's not a sight we get to see too much. We see everything being idled here. The camel riders now, they are out here ready to support, but the problem is just this archer mass has completely disappeared, and he was going to need those in Imperial to actually handle any semblance of this army.
Yeah, I mean, he was even kind of camping here with the archers in anticipation of it. So just ring of rosies. Tech up does complete. MeomaikA just really needs to send a small group over to start hitting the economy on the flanks. Like, he knows it's over there. It's really the only safe functional part of MSN's base, if you think about it.
And MSN having nothing but a handful of camels left. He's trying to keep this army engaged for as long as possible with him.
More camels.
And he's trying to get that technology research as well to ensure that his tech can be so much cheaper, but it is going to take too long. It is what it is. MSN tapping out. MeomaikA looking pretty strong here, but MSN, at some point, it looked like he had this. And that's the reality of it. These guys are so closely matched. MeomaikA is not going to underestimate MSN next game.
Oh, man. I mean, I just love the fact that some civs, right? The whole idea going Imperial can recover your game. So it's like, okay, now what? And then you just have a Basses like, all right, we reached Imperial Age. So, where's the advantage to be had here? Yeah, let's just call it. MeomaikA, though, I got to give him props, man. 4 TC, and he made sure it never really felt like it. You can see the amount of kills coming through here, right? 102. I love how it mirrored Max Vills perfectly, the amount that he killed. Just kind of constantly keeping that lead within, like, what, 20 eco, maybe 30 maximum, which when you add in the 5 relics, the fact that you've got all that free technology doesn't really make Delhi feel that far behind. So, sick plays by him to strip MSN of one of his most potent picks here in G1 and get a win on the board early.
And that's a slight bit more villagers killed from MeomaikA, as we can see there on Eco killed. Definitely trying to fight his way all the way through. We do see the upcoming game on the side, guys. I hope you're ready for that. But before we get to it, we want to look at these clear moments at the start of the game where things changed up. And that are this Ghazi raid was just constant, relentless, and it really solidified MeomaikA's position for a while. The timing on all these food sources, he pushed them off the berries and instantly knew, hey, you're going to need some other food, so where will you be next? Seeing those villagers on the deer, taking them down.
Like, the big advantage really you're looking for with a Bastards in this matchup is forcing your opponent off a Ghazi and making them dance in that early game. MeomaikA resisted that very well. His opening looked a bit weird on the timing, but he just straight up goes Ghazi, and then he gets these key raids in that shuts down MSN's clear all-in timing he had in mind. Like, that's the key to it. Like, I've seen Delhi, they can lose this matchup, but it really requires that MSN on the Bastards is allowed to dictate terms. And MeomaikA, we talked about this funky, over-the-top guy that doubles down in the weirdest times. It's not always that easy to dictate terms against.
Now, these surrounds were gorgeous here by MSN, and he definitely showed us he knows where and when to land. But for the next games, he needs to be so careful with these raids. He allowed them in over and over again just by keeping the walls open, by going out without protection. And this is just the problem when you are constantly pressured by a cavalry civ, which is possibly a problem here as MeomaikA gets Mongols for the next game. So we do see Macedonians being sniped out and Mongols going through, while HRE is the one being sniped out and Ottomans being let through. And honestly, that's the first time I can imagine that happening this whole tournament.
I mean, Yeah, it's very weird on multiple angles. Frisian Marsh is a decent map for Mongols, but not what it used to be. So that one's not too shocking. But allowing Ottomans through, I think MeomaikA thought he might be allowed Macedonians because like the idea there of like Otto versus Macedonians, I think you can kind of bait Ottomans into a false sense of security with their Sipahi, with their melee armor, and then you just kind of can potentially Varangian up because they get so bulky, or you just straight up to the Radari, and you'd think at that point, oh wow, Janissary is great counter Radari. Well, everything that's meant to counter Radari doesn't seem to, so I wouldn't really trust Janissary to be, the god to finally slay the angry Vikings.
Now, Frisian Marshes is, again, a map we see a lot of Dark Age aggression on, where both of these civilizations, they were kind of spicy in the Dark Age, KP. So, are we seeing barracks opening from both? Or is this something where Mongols is usually like, hey, I know the risks, let me just play it safe? Because with these guys, I don't think we can predict it. But go on.
I think Mongols might just try to bait you, thinking that they're going to Rax Rush, and then just go fishing. Right, that's a big win for them. Like that's the idea on these type of maps. The implied logic, like same with maps like Kawasan, to a certain extent, but more obvious ones would be something like Himiyama. Hey, that pond in the center with the fish that we both want? Well, I'm Mongols, so I can Dark Age rush you. You don't want to do anything about that. So usually people say, yep, that's a fair point, I'll take instead. Ottomans is like a weird alternative, though, because of the fact that long Dark Ages are really good for them. So for me and Micah to feel good about like going for a spear rush instead, he'd need to really outflex our Micah early on. I think he's going to take the safer option of just like fishing, and then if MSN gets overly Dark Age-ish, he'll then try to react with his own spears, at which point he would have accrued a lot of stone passively to keep double pumping.
Well, I absolutely love to see you believing in the more standard, safer play from someone like MeomaikA. We can all have goals and dreams, KP. And
no.
really aspire out there.
It won't be standard once you get to Feudal Age. When you get to Feudal Age, he'll only build Keshiks. Like literally nothing else. I'm calling that right now. But the Dark Age, he'll want the food for it, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, on a map like this, it is quite... Dark Age aggression is quite dependent on how much food you do have access to. So you can potentially get into a spot where you can out-sustain. You do have a fishing ship or two or three hanging in there while you're producing your spears. But, I mean, this also depends on how heavily MSN invests. We've seen some Ottomans also go for fishing in the Dark Age themselves, but they already have such a good tempo. Why would you go and ruin that by going for fishing instead? You can easily get control of the gold, you can easily just tower rush usual civilizations, but yeah, with Mongols, it does get a little bit harder. Now, I am absolutely ready for this, as the rest of the series could consist of Front Range, Kawasan, Hill and Dale, oh my goodness. And with MSN being in Vest, we know this man is getting the coaching he needs. Is it going to be enough to take down legendary MeomaikA? And who would being gathered from the get-go?
He's going straight for MSN. Gold. Yeah, so MSN's not interested in hanging around. Doesn't even look like he's interested in necessarily going for fishing. So aggressive agency may lie in the purview of MeomaikA. He is gathering up additional wood, and he's not moving out towards a dock location. So looks like we might be getting some Rax play out of the Vietnamese player.
And usually the question is, how do I respond to a tower rush? And the answer is very easily just putting a tower on your gold, right? But the thing is, when Mongols goes for a follow-up on that, it can very easily result in you having 2 towers on your gold and a lot of panic in your heart. But MSN, he's got the wood for it, so he gets to make that decision at a point when he scouts exactly what is coming his way. But this is probably what he expects.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he went out to gold so early does indicate that he was anticipating a rush. It also supports the idea that he didn't go fishing at all, right? So, with this in mind, MeomaikA, I don't know if he's going to achieve what he's looking to with this Dark Age timing. The gold is already going to be accrued before you get in place. You can outpost block double gold, but like at the same time, I don't think MSN's going to care, right? Because you just scale Sipahi and then blow up the outpost.
And especially when you do see this coming, it's quite easy to just grab every bit of gold you need for those initial upgrades to just start outscaling. But you have to consider here, we talked about this map before in a previous series, where when you look at the spawns, you have to always consider, hey, and he destroys, oh my goodness, KP, this man, he didn't even get enough gold to get his spearman upgraded. He was just like, nah, dude, I don't need this. I am going to go. I was actually going to say, is this the instance where you don't go for the Madries? But he says, no, I need the food. I'm just going to be making a lot more units. I don't need a drop of gold.
Yeah, absolutely. You go for the Madrasa here, right? Because like your goal is just to get Sipahi. Yeah, there's going to be a few spearmen. You can answer of archers if necessary, but if it's only a few spearmen, you just do Sipahi. Just because they will still kill them. And the whole idea is Madrasa gives you that extra food injection. Sipahi also feels good for shutting down any dock play, if that's the idea for MeomaikA. It just gives overarching presence on the map. And you know, the crazy thing that's made this so good these days is not just the Sipahi themselves being so efficient in trades, it's also the healing that comes afterwards. Healing that Mongols would not have access to.
Now, I'm expecting MeomaikA to also be very conservative about this when he does see the fact, oh my god, okay, guys, I'm wrong. I give up. Look at those two villages. I was going to say conservative about his investment as he's already on gold. But no, he doesn't go like that. He says, no conservatism here. I believe in the pump. And the pump is coming right your way, ladies and gentlemen. Two villagers going to be plopping down that tower at the speed of light. And spearmen just going to be putting themselves inside for good days and better days. But the age up is complete. And MSN probably feels pretty good about himself because he's got all the wood in the world that he needs.
Yeah, I mean, in for a penny, in for a pound logic, MeomaikA. Like, this stage, you might as well take the punt at it. The good news is MSN's opening archery range, right? Like, it's not Stable's beginning, so you won't have the quick burn through on an outpost. It does buy some time. Curious to see what's going to buy time for. Could MeomaikA be the crazy man that does a Silver Tree build? Because that would be complete back shirt crazy if he does.
Honestly, it would make a little bit of sense, especially... Ooh, no, never mind. I was going to say, especially if he's not going to be the one who's constantly aggressive. But no, the man plays it standard. And he's going for a barracks next. Now, keep in mind, that barracks is going to produce Dark Age Spearmen. So, it does feel a little strange to be in that position where you're forced to go for the Dark Age variety thereof. But the archers now coming out, not going to be able to stop the tower. But the numbers are already there to shut down any spears who dares cross this land.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be a move out. Yeah, there is. He's going for the docks. I was about to say, you know, if the goal here is map dominance, you might as well be present. It's not like MeomaikA can do anything where there's already archers here. So he'll just have to hide in his tower and watch you get the goodies.
Now, with the golds being right there next to each other, it just means that MSN is not in a position to just sneak in and grab some gold like you would if it was in that stone position. And this feels pretty tough with him now having to go for spears, because when you're playing against Mongols, you know what's coming. You've played against Mongols, you know Keshiks will eventually follow and absolutely overwhelm you, and MeomaikA would not shy away from going a majority of a Keshik composition. So those three archers ensuring that that dock goes up, but now we'll see what MeomaikA decides is the follow-up to this. 8 on food tells me he needs a lot of food for a lot of production pretty quickly. And
Keshik time, right? I think that would be the most obvious play here. If it is, MSN's a crafty son of a gun, because I don't think he made the racks apparent, right? Like, I think it's a subtle detail of his base layout.
yeah, it does look like it's a little bit back, but the tower could possibly have a little glimpse of it there. We'll see if we go take a look at over there in a second. But MeomaikA now not making any more spearmen. Oh, yeah. No, it's...
I don't think he sees that. That should just be short. Oh, no. He just about has vision. Okay, so MeomaikA has the info, but he's keeping, what, 10 food, 7 wood. He did drop a second building on the Uvu. We're just not seeing anything yet. Yeah, so he is actually committing to Keshiks. Okay, yeah.
So the UI doesn't show the double produced Keshiks from the stable. So a lot of times when those are being built, we will miss them for the initial moments. But as they now join the board, we can now see 2 Keshiks joining all of that. And those Dark Age Spearman numbers are looking healthy. Problem is just they are not that great at dealing with the right amount of Keshik numbers. And now getting archers into the mix as well. MeomaikA is looking to be aggressive without making a single dock.
That does sound like a MeomaikA thing. Yeah, so Khan goes down. Imams are the problem here. So MeomaikA needs like enough archers to deal with that. He has diversified to a 1-1-1 comp. I'm a little bit confused at the fact that MSN is not building literally the best unit that Ottomans have.
Which is Sabahis, right?
Yeah.
I would assume, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely nothing else they want in this age. I mean, it's the thing that can just win a game on its own. You know, Sapahi, with the right micro, has kind of reached French Knight only levels of power.
And now with no Mercer, that's the thing, right? He doesn't have a single military school. And this is what from Ottomans, this is what Ottoman loves. They love having a bit of a military school just to get those passive units. But he says, it's not worth it. I need to invest every bit of resource I've got into getting docks, into making units. So at what point do we say, hey, let's go for the stone, get our 2 military schools up and start pumping out these units for free? The investment is pretty large though, and that's why he's holding off on this. He knows he just needs numbers right now. But the Keshiks, they do look around, they do get poked a little bit, but they will be forced back off. And now these guys are going to need to be a bit careful, at least until they get an opportunity to heal up. And I don't know if there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that. With no Q displayed for us on Mongol's side, I'm assuming there's more Keshiks in Q. And a stable being added for MSN. So, KP, your wishes
Finally.
is... Oh, yeah, he's putting it in just for you.
Okay. It's a bit of a weird build, though. Like, the more I look at this, this is a bit of an outdated approach of Ottomans. You know, no military schools you highlighted. Even back then, though, I think... Oh, no, we did see a lot of spear spam with the Dark Age timings. It just feels like MSN has kind of gone really off the beaten path of what you'd expect here. And maybe that was, like, the intent, is to catch MeomaikA off guard. Then again, like, I think even if he didn't build Sapahi and he didn't build military schools, I do not see how MeomaikA is meant to win with the way he's approached his economy in this game. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, this guy, I don't know, man. I thought Vietnamese people love fish in their diet, but this guy seems to be completely resistant to it.
Pescatarian, no, that's too wild for him. We're getting vegan all the way. Only berries for us, and no deer, of course, either, because... wait. We had sheep at the start,
sheep,
but
right?
nobody talks about
sheep
that.
are a vegetable. I must have missed that. They're so fluffy. Like, you know, they have like this furry type thing that grows on them, almost like cotton on a plant. They're definitely vegetables.
We still have to keep in mind, MSN is going to fight this with Dark Age spears. And those archers that were made to deal with the number of spears that we have here. The thing is, they are going to melt once they make a connection. And the scout now going down is massive, because MSN not having vision here is going to be the difference between MeomaikA being able to flank quite easily and actually finding a little bit of damage here. No military school still. He's just doubling down on this. Has a lot of food in the bank, though. Is that a market? Please tell me that's a market. Are we getting some gold finally?
Yeah,
yes.
okay, fine, God. Like, no spear upgrade, no blacksmiths. You at least want undermesh here, considering your opponent's going mass archers. Like, undermesh is probably your #1 priority here. Maybe even so more than the hardened status on spears.
Do you see that second vizier point, though? We got Mechter. We got Mechter.
Whoa.
Yes. MSN. What's that? Brother.
I think it's because of the yam. So yam from the outpost makes it very easy for Mio to kite, so he's just offsetting that advantage.
And
you know, what's the alternative?
Yeah?
Like, well, because normally you might think Atolia Hills or military school plus, but, you know, if you've got 0 out of 2 military schools, getting an extra military school would be cool, but you still haven't built the first 2 yet. So, yeah, I think it pretty much aligns the choice itself, really, at that point. Yeah.
I like that he went and got the market, and the only upgrade he got was for his spears. He realized, okay, we need to fix this. This is not going to be acceptable in the long run. Not using any other resource to get more gold He says, I just need these spears to be upgraded. While on the other hand, MeomaikA has his upgrades. He's got +1 ranged attack and +1 ranged defense coming in soon. Almost losing that scout from NSM side. He needs to be careful with that guy because he is very much overextended. He needs to be quite careful with those imams as well because the archers should be able to snipe them out pretty fast.
Moving in onto the dock. MSN just actually backing up, giving a wide berth here. He's waiting for Undermesh. Undermesh should be like #1 go point. Still there would be nice to have here, but like honestly, this is now about Sipahi. Because MeomaikA, I thought we were going to get mass Keshik only. It's pretty much mass Archer only.
But you realize MeomaikA doesn't know about these Sipahi. He doesn't realize there's 17 Sipahis on the board. And you can tell this by the fact that he has 35 archers and nothing else. That's exactly what's going on here. We have a surprise Sipahi attack, and he might know that Sipahis are the natural answer. But,
Imams?
does he know?
The Imams are gone, so no more healing. I feel like he should know at this stage. Right? Like, you know your opponent has fishing. You haven't really shut it down. You've got to be suspicious of this. Sipahi.
This is a surprise for him.
He does see it
coming
now.
on in.
He's actually diving in. He's trying to address this side of the fight. The Kesh are going to peel off to deal with the backside, so Sipahi held back temporarily. But they can actually win that engagement. And he's actually running into the Sipahi now. He gets brute force back by the spears, and the GG gets called. Unorthodox Ottomans are going to be more than good enough to score for MSN.
And this should tell MeomaikA, hey, maybe people have been banning Ottomans for a reason, and maybe it's just because of those horses with the longest of sticks that are taking down absolutely everything. And it showed there. Those archers were absolutely sitting ducks, and his overinvestment into them means that there was no logical answer for him to go into here. Military value lead very quickly, switching to, I would say, to MSN's side, as we saw those Sipahi numbers just increase so fast.
Yeah, just really well played. An unusual strategy, but I think like just a game simply won by raw economy in the end, right? Like, it kind of got to the point when you saw that fishing coming up, that MSN could close to build anything you wanted to. And MeomaikA just didn't really have any clear kill plan as that game trended on. I don't know. I want to always been practicing for this to make sense. And then again, I don't think Meo has been putting as much time into competitive tournament practice in recent months. So I wouldn't be surprised if his Frisian Marshes is a little bit rusty.
Frisian Marshes is definitely a map that requires you to constantly be on top of the meta and understand exactly how a game can evolve. But with MSN, you know he's been preparing. This is not something that he has any lack of. He's with a team that forces him to practice, and you have a constant environment of pro players. They're like, hey, MSN, my guy, you gotta practice. You know what I mean?
Shotgun behind him is like, you better. Did you play 12 games today? I mean, I've done 11. Get back in the room.
You have not completed your required hours. Look at that moment. The Sipahis making you realize that horses can be a problem for archers. So, now we do see our next matchup, though. And this time, I can with confidence say that Malians was sniped out, KP. Malians. I repeat, where's Sengoku in this draft?
We do not.
French Sengoku?
Well,
hello?
I'm guessing you probably thought that like Sengoku was in the draft originally, right?
Yes, because of the Malian flag, of course. But how are we getting these two? No Ottoman ban.
Why?
Sushi ban. No French,
why?
no Mali. Oh, disgusting.
Why?
Disgusting.
I'm sorry, but MSN likes horses. How would you not pick Sengoku when it's available? It doesn't make sense to me.
MSN,
it's a good pick on 3 of the maps here.
Doesn't need a broken civilization to secure a spot, KP. How dare you imply that? This poor guy.
Excuse me, he drafted the Abbasids.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. He does abuse civilizations.
I didn't say which way it was broken, but you know. Also, just one with Ottomans. What are you on about, woman? Come on. Like, he's picking broken civs left, right, and center. He's got China on map number 3.
China. And on front range, that feels good, because getting a nice little control on the food, like you said before. This seemed to have the biggest impact. Now, the problem is, we're up here against Ayubids. They're not going to be snacking on any boar. But we do have dervishes. And how do dervishes play out on a map like this?
Really annoyingly. It makes you feel like you urgently need to scale to deal with them. But the other problem is that when you start scaling archers to deal with dervishes, good Ibid players will just build an outpost and tech. So now MSN's got to try and figure out, is there an aggro timing? In theory, with China, there should be, right? China's very good for aggressively aligned strategies. They have great production rates with the archers because they're able to supervise production. Then they get the rush tech. So there is a breach point I think could work here. I'm curious to see whether MSN is going to open with a ball play, though. Like, technically, it's like a bit of a weird one because you wouldn't quickly have supervision upon age up if you take that approach.
Now, MSN, I feel like on China, you just have more choices with that opening then. But Ayubids, they have an answer to, you know, punish you for anything you dare do. But I just heard a nice sheep for us, so we might be rolling in pretty soon with these two on front range. Let's see that opening, and no ball play at the start. So no crazy shenanigans here for us today. Oh, damn.
No, it's not worth the risk, right? Because like the dervish time will come in, you'll be pushed back anyway. And also, you just want to rush feudal. Technically, going on the ball slows you down because it would be worth it once you're a few hundred food in, but initially it's going to be a bit awkward. You just want to get your Imp Academy online immediately as China here to get the efficiency. But MeomaikA, look at the spawn, man. That is... I don't know whether that's the best spawn or the worst spawn for gold imaginable here. Double gold forward, the deer as well. I mean, if there was a justifiable position for an outpost defense, this would be it.
And seeing those two little golds in front of each other should motivate you to want to get into that Song Dynasty if you ever decided, like, hey, Imperial officials are not the way to go. But now MSN just... our normal early game China, wanting to see what happens with all of this. Now, this is not a map where I think a lot of players are just going to sit back and see what the other one does. But with Ayubids, you feel like you need to constantly be on top of them, especially if they go for those dervishes. The other option MeomaikA has here is, of course, just trying to get eco and scaling or outscaling his opponent, trying to get a castle a little bit faster and letting those lances do the talking. But it feels like it could be a little bit risky here. So we haven't seen a fast castle Ayubid in a while at the top level, but at this level, we're still at the top, but not top. We might see some sneaky shenanigans, but let's see what the man clicks up as we're almost there. And Twitch chat, this is your moment. What are we getting? Are we getting some dervishes? Or are we getting some eco? Or is everyone wrong?
Right? Unless it's Mio, there might be desert raiders.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, no shenanigans for us today. Only the best of the best here for you.
Welcome to 2024. Just your standard Ibid experience in 2024. What do you mean it's 2026? I think you guys just don't know how to count. That is clearly a 2024 replay. Why else would you reinforcement wing in the feudal age?
One strong camel at a time, he says. Now, that thing could be annoying, of course, because you are China. You're not going to be able to, you know, walk around the map and make units to deal with that early on. You actually need to be in your base. But in your base, we have some questionable things, such as a wood line that can be spotted and attacked from very, very easily. So all those wood lines, when you have a ranged unit standing there, it feels pretty tough to be able to grab all the wood that you need. So maybe there is method to his madness, and he is going to be able to shut down a man who just wants to chop some wood.
Marika, you just chose Desert Raiders against a prolific horseman spammer. Can you guess what's going to happen next?
Well, him going for a village means that there is time for the Desert Raider to make it there. So
Is
the
there?
horseman, I feel like it is.
We have to remember that they don't spawn straight away anymore. So that's like
So
a
we
very
do-
big delay against China.
So what you're saying is he is going to shut down this horse before... the camel before it even hits land.
I think so. Like, you can either horseman or archer. Either one could work here. I think horseman just gives you like a better aggressive timing. Archer is more anchored, but you can see MSN is getting all the info right now. He sees the golds. He's weighing up like exactly what Mio's doing. So he'll know if this is a scale Desert Raider strat or if it's a fast castle.
Now, very quickly, he's going to spot it is definitely not a fast castle. With 9 on wood, we know things are heating up in a different way. And they are going to be in an aggressive one. Let's see if he spots that military wing. He probably did already. Just making sure that he knows exactly what's cooking. Is it going to be continued aggression? Or what are we expecting? He sees the Desert Raider. Desert Raider coming out there for the Scout. Going to be slicing him in half. Scout very resistant to slices and runs away.
And being shot in the face. He's resistant to a lot of things, really. It's kind of hilarious that the butter knife that other scouts carry is one of the more effective things.
But the archers from MSN now, horses, you said, KP. This man does not believe in a horse. He says horses are too good against Desert Raiders. I do not want to mess with that. I'm a respectable man. I will go for the ground units. Give me 2 legs all day.
Yeah, it's because MeomaikA isn't going fast castle, right? So like there isn't a rush now for MSN. So he's going for, well, I actually think it's one of China's more scary timings, actually. You know, this isn't just a greed civ anymore. It's a surprisingly effective aggro civ. It almost feels like Abbasids on Gokoina, you know? They have this extra vavavoom to them because they've got the supervision to produce fast. That also allows them to get their research techs into blacksmiths fast. And then they already have a good economy, right? Like, if you think about what imp officials do, they're an insane eco booster. Even on a map like this, where your food, your wood, they're usually quite limited, they just give you 20% more.
And he keeps investing into these archers. Not more spears just yet, but oh, there we go. But with the maximum of horseman composition here from MeomaikA, he's switching over now to a barracks. Ooh, archery range instead, he says. Realizes maybe barracks is not the answer against a bunch of archers. And now this could be interesting. How does Aeobid archers do in the grand scheme of things? They're just archers, right?
Like mass archers plus spears, though, right? Like the worry here for Mio is he's kind of his economy is worse, and that's even the golden age. Like technically, that's a problem because I think also the other kind of thing to keep an eye on here is he should have to move out the base a bit quicker than China because of the fact that China's taking a limited resource and adding 20% in. So yeah, like Mio, the good news is because he went cavalry, he does allow himself to dictate terms on the map, so he should be able to play out. The bad news is the literal best thing about playing out on this map is boar, and you absolutely categorically can't do it. He does, however, have probably the most smushed berries I've seen on this map in a long time. Smushed berries may have been a wrong choice of words. There could have been some sort of analogy about doctors and testicles. We avoid it, though. We move beyond it.
Because this is a very mature past.
Like cheddar cheese.
So, those berries, I was about to say, they look like they could be quite optimized there for an Aeobid player. And also gives you a little bit of control as you're moving out and keeping your army quite close to your villages. But this gold is being snacked on and being used, just not in a blacksmith kind of way. So I'm excited to see what he prioritizes here. But the villagers are moving out, and we see MSN has other food sources on his mind. And that food source is very chunky and going to be quite helpful for this economy. The thing is, he's also quite close to being able to think about getting Song Dynasty. So you could secure this pretty easily as well. Or just go drop the Barbican in his base, right? One of those two.
I don't know if we're at Barbican point yet. Like, maybe after he wins a fight. You know, let's not get too crazy here. We thought we were going to get one today in the last series. And they somehow didn't get to that point.
That's true. That's true. Maybe we're just too spoiled with the Barbicans we've seen in the past. I mean, that's what we're all hoping for, right, Twitch? We need to see a little bit of action there. Oof, look at all these villagers. One drop off, 213 food. That feels good. And the horses, they see what's going on. The camel sees what's going on. The other camel as well. Now, with all of these units having all this information, they might share it with the archers who have just arrived. And the tower being built at the speed of light, but the archers are standing forward. The spearmen, though, they do scare them off.
Yes, the blacksmith advantage. That's a big problem for MeomaikA with this dive. Villagers will just have to shuffle away as there is excess there. The outpost starts to get harassed. I mean, MSN, this should have been his fight. Has he not got everything here?
Yeah, and it feels like this is the fight. He's trying to let this tower do the talking a little bit, but he's waiting a while, and it's going to be a sacrificial tower. Villagers popping out, popping right back in. He barely makes it out alive.
He doesn't manually on garrisons. They end up coming out on the east side of the tower instead of the west. So -1 there. A very unusual state of affairs here when you consider that MeomaikA came at that from a sheer blacksmith disadvantage, and MSN did not feel like he was in any position to brawl it.
Now, MSN doesn't have anything in the bank to really reinforce this if he doesn't have that ball control. He's got the deer and the berries there at the bottom, so he can pivot, but by that point, there's so much idle time on not having the resources. He's going to be in a very, very tough spot here. Now, he's making more archers as time goes on, trying to get as much as possible. The villagers out here are trying to survive, but another one yet going down. Archers now pushing forward yet again. Imperial official backing off pretty quickly as he sees that this is not going to be an easy thing to survive through. But those camel numbers are really adding up after a while. But the archers now just taking all the fire from the tower. Disgusting.
Bit weird though, because like MSN has started investing in horsemen when the archer numbers are starting to shrink, right? So it kind of shifts the dynamics where you might wish you'd actually had more spears. It's kind of weird actually that the Ibids were allowed to have the archer advantage anyway. China is usually a sheer dominant force when it comes to bloating that archer count up, especially when you remember that MSN started with archers.
Now, MSN is investing in a bit more spears here. It makes sense when you're dealing with this many horses that it's going to be very, very necessary. But the problem is MeomaikA is really good at the micro here. He's sniping out every spearman he can. His horses are waiting at the right moment to connect every single time. And he is doing the trades pretty effectively. The problem is, though, you're up against China, who has the ball right now, and your food is getting thinner and thinner. We see a red dot over there on the berries as well, so it does look like MSN is looking for a bit of a counterattack.
Yeah, horsemen do sneak in, just as MeomaikA needs it. So -1, that shifts the army across, that relieves pressure towards like the ball type location. And I think MSN is also just creeping up with the main army. Yeah, archer spears. I think that would be a bit gung-ho at this stage. You know, show some respect. It only makes sense if Meo is teching for you to push that far forward.
Now, I'm wondering about this golden age, though. We do see it's 0 out of 20, but I'm not sure if that thing is actually showing for out yet. Never mind,
yeah, it's got level 2, so it'll be the research as well as the gathering. But the gathering's only 10%. Research is kind of crap. I don't know. There was a time where it was way too good. Now it's like, oh, that's nice. You know, it's like when someone says, "Hey, I collect small Lord of the Rings figurines." Like, oh, that's nice.
Now, this army is going to be a little bit of an issue as it's pushing out, but at the same time, there's a big yellow blob running towards the south here. Difference is, there are secured villages here at the front, and MSN is about to snack if given the opportunity. Instantly just rains down upon all these villages. He's just going to A-move, and he is going to get quite a few kills here as they're running back, but not fast enough. The horses need to find some damage.
I don't think they really are finding enough there. No, he's hesitant to dive here because there's a lot of Desert Raiders. Desert Raiders don't have ranged armor. So I'm saying, like, the worry here is now you are cut off. Remember what you said earlier in the day? Don't run around the back of the base. But sometimes, it's just like the offer is staring at you. It's just too good, right? Like 2-to-1 odds, I'll take that happily. Dives on in, finds a few of the workers, but the archers do get juked out. They were the real threat factor here. It's a good dodge there by Meo.
Now, there's an opening here. So let's say this whole army gets cleaned up. But no, never mind, it won't. MSN, he's fast on his fingers, making sure he gets everything he can. Eventually, it will get cleaned up because he's behind his opponent's base. But if he suffers all these losses, is he still going to be okay when the counterattack lands? Sure, he killed extra villagers, but losing your whole army to this might actually not bode so well for him.
Needs to be careful with the horsemen, just not to overcommit and give those spears too good a value. Like, this should be a painful hit. I don't think it's one that MSN can't have time to recover from. The curious part is going to be where he can get his food sources, because the front side shouldn't feel safe. However, we have a backstab coming in. A second wave goes into the berries again. These really are starting to feel like crushed berries. Villagers have to run away for the second time. That type of idle really stings your ability to reblob, while MSN needs that reblob after the losses in that corner.
Now the counterattack is going to land, and sure, MSN does have a massive archers, but you need to know MeomaikA with all those horses, he should be okay. MSN just needs to take these fights in a little bit more of an optimal position here. He's making more spears, but those horses are getting their value. Problem is just, those are not villagers, and he really needs to find some kills to equalize this, or he's going to struggle as the time goes on. The boar should be about depleted right now, but this just means that MSN is going to be able to move out onto those south berries that he's got.
Just a rough one for MSN getting caught up field. I mean, the dive in with the archers looked like it was going to be good at first, but I believe Mio did actually get textiles. If he did, that's just such a sick read there, because it makes a world of difference against these type of dives. No, wait, he doesn't? Okay, these guys felt like they were doing plastic damage. They must have split damage or something, because he didn't get that many kills from the secondary dive.
I do see a lot of wood here for MSN. 1.1k wood at this point in the game tells you those villagers had nothing else to do. And now trying to chop down every bit of tree they can, making all the archers in the world. And another village coming on out. Still mostly untouched on the gold there.
MSN... This is like a tricky time right now, because MeomaikA, with that food injection in the corner, the horseman count is quite threatening. 11 spearmen isn't going to last long against 42 archers either, so I'm kind of reluctant about MSN's ability to take a direct head-on fight here. The good news is MeomaikA is drifting over slowly. He actually hasn't urgently rushed his timing at all.
Problem is, with MeomaikA having 466 gold, he does have choices. And apparently those choices are signaling one thing and one thing only, and that's castle. Now, when he gets to castle here, he can very, very easily just slide right into those upgrades. Oh, I say that, and then 10 more horsemen are queued up, getting a little bit pop gap, rushing up that house.
Against MSN to be blobbing horsemen like this.
Is he going to be able to respond to it, though? Because we saw how MSN was susceptible, and he realizes, hey, that first game, let's not do that again. I'm going to make some walls, and then we won't have those raids where all my villagers die one by one. So, MSN actually walling up this game, and probably the safest choice here for him, but he's not anywhere close to aging up himself.
Yeah, well, MeomaikA is thinking about that trigger being pulled. Curious to see which way it's going to go. Industry wing would make a lot of sense. Like, actually, the idea of trying to get fast into Manganiques here, a very strong play. MSN has got 69 archers. Is begging for mango play.
And especially with those little clumps that move so awkwardly when you try to split them up. So, MeomaikA about to click up, but he's pop capped again. Oh my goodness, I love seeing this because it means he's human, guys. This man is human. He goes for the industry wing KP. Are you a psychic?
It's more that I spend a questionable number of hours on Age of Empires 4.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I should probably get some, like, hobbies.
Yes. Outside this game, there's time.
Like maybe paying Warhammer 40k figurines. No, that's expensive. Damn it. I need something that's free. I don't know, I guess we could I could train my older child to chuck my younger child, and we could play catch with the child. That's an option. I mean,
that's what
it works for dolphins and baby
play
seals.
Pretty soon when they have Manganiques.
Yeah, and the funny thing about Manganiques is it's not just a tiny rock you can dodge. It's giant, flamey, scary sky falling upon us. When you have an army this big, Manganiques are just insanely valuable. They hit everything. They'll hit 30 plus units.
Now, the question is just, is MeomaikA going to have the gold for Manganiques? Because now the villagers, again, very far forward. A few more will fall. They drop off and then decide they've had enough of this life. A handful more die. And this is okay for MSN. He's also going to be clicking in the age up pretty soon. Villagers back on gold, trying to get every drop of it so that they can afford to build at least one or two of them and get this army reinforced. Because right now, that villager difference is... Oh, wow. We're getting an astronomical clock tower.
That's an astronomical change. Yeah.
Welcome to 2024. Like you said.
Yeah, we're back again. I think it's the map, though, because it's more linear. So, cavalry can be used on this map, but it's not the be-all, end-all. Infantry comps work pretty well, actually. So, you know, and at the same time, to really justify it and hammer it home, your opponent has got 50 archers. Knobs feels pretty good. It also is a potential way to deal with Manjaniques.
Now let's the Horseman upgrade instantly being clicked up, and that is what I like to see. Horseman at least getting a little bit of priority. Let's go see that Manjanique being placed down, if he even decides to go that way, because of the limited gold he's got right now. It feels like every little bit might be invested into getting the Archer upgrade there too. Now we did see him getting a little bit of a boost there. Not sure if he just bought the gold or sold other resources to get the gold, but he does have a lot of wood in the bank, and this can very easily be turned into something else. That market coming in clutch at this point.
I do love the fact that MeomaikA went castle age to just build feudal units. Archers and horsemen. This is why people go age 3, of course. Yeah, no armored units whatsoever, despite the fact both of them have built mass archers.
Do we not have camel raiders or lancers? Where are those bad boys? Imagine the problem is the lack of gold.
It's like that and we get camels for free. Why would we ever pay for those things?
And
Horsemen.
Barbican finally coming out. Love that. We do see a little bit of a connection here. The horsemen want to wait for their upgrades, but the thing is, the longer we wait, the closer this gets. Now, a few other units being made, but just more archers. More archers.com.
Yeah, I mean, well, there you go. Hey, we have a lancer coming in from MSN. One heavy cavalry unit amidst all this. These horsemen already vetted up means that he can't really do any damage with mass archers.
He does have +2 ranged attack already, but with MeomaikA getting +2 ranged defense, there is not really much he can do about this. Barbican is down there on the other ball, so this does mean he is gonna have safe food, at least for now. And this fight is not something that MeomaikA wants to take under something like a Barbican. Springald being the first unit of choice, which very surprising yet again.
I mean, it's mass archers, so bit surprised we're not seeing Nesta Bees here. It's getting weirder and weirder. At this rate, MSN, he's going to be figuratively and literally eating rocks because the south side economy don't look safe at all. He has at least secured the gold for later on. I'm more keenly concerned about the farm transition that he only just began that MeomaikA is objecting against. Wait, no. Oh, God, we're wasting time on the Barbican.
That
This takes a
Barbican
while.
It does. And the problem is, yes, you might kill some villagers. MSN already killed a ton of yours. Be out there raiding everything and shutting down the food, but the archers, they're fighting a pretty tough fight here against all those horsemen. Spearmen were not in position for this, but they do get through the front lines, and the horse numbers are going to be falling. But that one Springald is just not doing the work I think it would need to do. The Lancers finally looking like they are taking a majority of all these archer fires, and MSN, he holds.
Yeah, the archers are about even on count. There's still a few horsemen left over here. The Springald is just pretty much being ignored. I mean, keep in mind there's like idle time, a few worker kills coming in as well. Meo still has the numbers. He just needs to get them forward. He's got a lot of production weighing at home to pull up here, and that's why MSN is kind of edging out a defense. It's the Lancers that spawn and arrive for him versus the Camel Lancers that have only just been queued up.
Now, these Lancers are going to be able to clean up most of these archers here, so they do try to take a few casualties, with a few of the villagers going down, trying to run for their lives. There's one Lancer waiting for reinforcements as they're going from both sides, and archers trying to focus fire one, and they do get one, but the next one has arrived, and the boys are going to be falling one by one, but the Camel Lancers are going to follow suit. We do see them streaming across the map. I just don't know if they're going to find the damage they need.
And they need worker kills right now. This is catastrophic. When you think about the eco difference, the song scaling, the overinvestment, really. He's rotated around the back of the base with no way of getting reinforcements through. MSN has also struck off any rotation north side. He's walled himself into the mountains, essentially colonizing 2 different areas of the map. And that farm transition, I mean, he's just come back for that now, quite safely. Like, that was the strike point for MeomaikA, the point that was meant to break the game.
Oh, do you see... Oh, another Desert Raider falling down. But the Camel Lancers are nowhere to be seen. Is he waiting to surprise, KP?
Is it?
It's
I guess
a surprise.
I mean, I want to say, is it surprise? But then again, MeomaikA did go castle age just to build feudal units. So it might prove to be a surprise. The problem is, it's double damage upgrade. Like, archers, they may tickle, but they can still kill. And no, Mio, you can't eat that. Off you go. Only the wood. Don't even look
He
at
was
it.
thinking about the stone though. That he was like, "Hey, I could use a keep." Yeah, you could. You honestly, you could use a keep because you're about to get raided with a lot of lancers. Honestly, he could use a little bit of everything right now. The problem is the golds in the base have been depleted. Everyone is out there building farms, building apparently walls, says MSN, and this is going to start getting harder and harder for MeomaikA as China is just going to keep exploding. We've all been in this position against China, and it's so hard to get back into a winning position after that. And just like that, we just got to pause. So now we might be... Oh no.
Oh
Do
no.
we have anyone who's stuck? Is someone stuck?
Yeah, there's an Iber playing game. Can we get a Manganique check on aisle 5? I think we're safe. Is the Springald stuck? And we need to know if the Springald is safe. Do we need to send a rescue dog? It's safe. Okay, it's fine. It is with its parents. The Springald will be safe.
So for those of you who don't know why we're asking about the siege specifically, last week we had an instance where poor little Mangonel got stuck in Myriad, was in a pretty rough position there with his Mangonel just being stuck inside a tree. So now we had a pretty long pause back then. We'll see what this one is for. But let's take a quick look at this composition here. We now still have MeomaikA with a ton of horsemen and a few camel lancers. But at the same time, MSN, he has a pretty solid army here. And I feel like the army of MeomaikA could theoretically beat this. The problem is just the eco. And I feel MSN just has a better sense of control on the rest of the map as well. And MeomaikA, his attacks points are so limited, while MSN could just take a lance or two and actually make things hurt.
Yeah, I think I'm wondering when Mio's gonna actually insulate himself properly. Because, like, the fact that he's just playing naked with no walls here, like, before it wasn't a problem when it's just raw archers and you just react. But, like, we can clearly tell it should be in the cavalry point. Like, even the idea of just, like, scaling crossbows is not going to be easy, to your point. Like, as you reach this stage of the game, you just get full breadth. Also, interesting detail is that Mio isn't trying for relics at all, despite it historically being one of Ibid's best timings to align strategies around.
Now, 25 minutes into the game, we got notification that one of the players just needed a quick break, but is right back. So we will be resuming pretty shortly. Now, JP, where do people usually run dry? Is it on the wood line here when players start falling apart? Or is it the gold?
I'd say the gold isn't as worrisome as you think. You just need to be mindful of it, and if you wall ahead of time, you're fine. So, like, the tree lines are kind of an interesting one because, you know, to fix the field, you have to put it into farms. But, like, this game feels weirder because they need to put it into farms and they need to mass archers. It's like, for them, wood should be the real predicament as this game now drags on because of how reliant both of them were on that element. And, you know, how reliant they still could be when you think about the idea of things like siege. So, yeah, I'd say the wood might be the thing that screws it a little bit here for one player or the other. But props to him, MSN already has a decent number of farms up. Oh my god, did you see that? Full Looney Tunes mode as the race is underway. And now it's not again.
Yeah, we're stuck, we're back, and we're stuck. Never mind, we're just stuck on a wall. Guys, that wall is going to be a bride tonight. As we see all of those wooden planks is falling apart. A good little steak on top of that could be quite delicious, hey? And that is how you know we are casting for the South African. Now, when I look at this army, I know myself, if I had this many units with all these legs, 4 legs per unit, I know what I want to do. I want to be raiding, I want to flank, I want to get on the resources. But every single time I try to A move, I turn around and I realize, hey, there's a wall in front of me. This is a problem. So now he's going to find those walls, and he's going to realize, hey, there's more walls. And remember what I said about those lancers trying to find some damage? Exactly what happened.
No walls, no luck. I mean, even riding blind there, he just fished for it because there was multiple gold locations being harvested. MeomaikA is trying for a counter raid on the other side, but if you have a look at MSN's situation, outside of these raids, the north side is a fail because this man right here has set up a maze. Oh my god.
MSN learning from that last game where he lost so many villagers to the absence of walls. Now he doubles down and gets all the walls in the world set up and a lot more villager kills alongside that.
A healthy lead, one that's only going to keep extending with the Song Dynasty effect. I mean, I'm not really seeing MeomaikA's grand plan for longevity here. It feels like he's going to have to go soon.
MeomaikA realizes this and he goes straight for that base. But the problem is, that base is mostly empty KP. He is, those villagers are elsewhere. The only thing in that base is a bunch of spicy archers and spearmen to join the party as well. Now, I like that he's also put a nest of bees in here, but now with the horseman and the camel transition, this is going to be a little bit harder. The archers are trying to fight back, but again, this unit composition counters it directly. So there is a little bit of a chance here for MeomaikA, especially with this composition.
I mean, it's only one nest of bees. The archers aren't really that threatened. A little bit of trickle damage coming through. Tries to brute force with the concave. MSN going to be clutching at poles to try and hold on here. But, I mean, you're front lining with archers. This horseman wave, we said MeomaikA needed to send it. And he full-on salutes and agrees. A break in the main army. He tries to village shuffle to get out the other side. That's not going to count for scratch, though, because who is now going to guard your only just finished farm transition?
And that is such... The whole thing of him being alive and well is this farm transition. We do hear a relic being used to shout into the skies. Two horsemen getting converted, and finally MSN does have a little bit of an army again, but not for long, as the Barbican is also close to falling. Villagers falling like flies and very quickly catching up to that economy advantage he had when SBs. He's a lonesome warrior.
I mean, these are the type of games that people are going to use to get Nest of Bees buffed, I swear to God. Ring of Roses, there's nowhere safe to be. The entire eco lead that MSN had, it has evaporated. I don't see how this fails me. I mean, the Barbican that looked questionable before never got repaired, so he could siege it down. I don't think it's entirely necessary, but to get rid of the Springwheel threat, probably deems it as worthwhile. And the workers, I mean, we have 7 food workers total. MSN can't afford an army. Even if he stockpiles all of his pocket money from last year.
Now MSN hoping for a little bit of a Lancer answer, but he needs so much more than that. There is going to need to be miracles, and he's right now sitting here channeling his inner Corvinus, hoping for an answer to this madness in his base. Now the villagers, they did migrate north. It does look like we had the grand migration, but at the same time, we are paying the price with all of our buildings here at the back. These archers firing at those farms like they are completely non-resistant to arrows, poor guys. But the camel's doing some good work burning all of this down. And let's go take a quick look at that economy there at the top. I would love to see how MSN is positioning his villagers and keeping them alive. Farms, very nice.
Well, he may have shut me down temporarily. But don't worry, we have backup farms in the mountains. Is MSN just going to migrate the whole base up there? I mean, he is playing China. It's technically possible.
Now, these horsemen that he keeps making, they work. That's the thing. MSN is not respecting the power of the legs. And every single time, we see that making an impact. So now, still making lances, saying, this is what I need to fight this. But with the composition, sure, this could work. He still has the 7 crossbows that are going to be able to snipe them out. Possibly not one by one, I would say, but now I see he doesn't have +2 range defense, so possibly one by one. Yes, those 7 crossbows could be enough, and the horseman numbers are going to provide a pretty good front line if they ever manage to get their way through.
It's so expensive. Remember what we said about wood? Wood being a limiting factor. I mean, he hasn't actually got that much up in the mountains. Straggler trees adds a decent quantity in, but like long-term scope of things, kind of a grim tiding, right? And MeomaikA, it's crazy. He's just reminding you, walls are only required when you're being attacked. When was the last time MSN was able to attack?
Oof, and MeomaikA, look, doing the manor keep right in front of MSN. He might have to cancel this one, though. This is a little bit risky. Depends how many villages he's pulling.
This seems fine
Look
to
at all
me.
those lances.
Stop.
5 villages to rule them all.
That's all you need. Take his relics away so you can't have any more lancers. I mean, he's still got gold gathering in the mountains, but it definitely stings a bit. I mean, this much cavalry, I don't feel like lancers should be able to break it. You could pretty much just stand on top of the workers and they'd be safe.
And MSN, honestly, I can imagine where he's sitting at right now, feeling like, hey, maybe I should have made those spears for this composition. And just doubling down on the archers, realizing, hey, this next time we will switch it up. He learned from his previous mistakes. He learned from the fact I need walls, and it worked so well. This time, I think he's going to make a pretty big note to make the counter units as well.
Yeah, I mean, MSN back up against the wall. It feels like MeomaikA, like, this is an interesting build he's taken. I mean, the fact that we win this series, we warned that there'd be a lot of horsemen. I just didn't really think he'd be leading the pack by this much. You can technically build up more landmarks to try and drag the game longer here if you're MSN, but I don't really see it being feasible with this type of income.
He's making sure that he gets one more big fight, because of course we have God vision. We know exactly how many units there is. But for MSN, this is his last hurrah. He wants to back off, make sure that he gets one good fight in before he calls it quits. Now, losing a second landmark does not feel too good when we know the Barbican is also quite low. Now, he is getting another stable, a little surprising there, as he's going to need that wood to repair, if anything. But going straight for the next landmark, and there's only 2 landmarks left. It looks like MeomaikA realized this is how I win this.
Quick, gather for the Yuan. Gather now. I mean, he has got 25 lancers, and for some reason, MeomaikA is building more archers. Still, the castle. I think the castle might be a problem here.
You might be able to take a decent trade, but not under that keep, and the one villager here is not going to be able to rebuild all of this. The lancers doing work now. The villagers quickly popping into that Barbican. Want to help with the fire, but
oh god, it's concave.
It's like falling like flies.
Yeah, it's also just like when you're surrounded like this, horsemen do beat lancers. This beefy warrior, you're swole, you brought all your armor, and then just a bunch of guys with shivs are super effective. GG, MeomaikA moving on to match point. One more, and he will lock himself in for the road to Red Bull Wololo.
Now, this must feel pretty good here for MeomaikA. He chose this map. He was like, hey, this is the map that I'm going to take you down on. And he was right. MSN now needs to take this 2 games in a row for him to stand a chance. And honestly, if I'm MSN, I feel that pressure. My whole Scandinavian team, every Scandinavian player qualified last week. This is the one he needs to join. He watches all his colleagues sit there in the main event, and right now he knows he's 2 games away from it. So honestly, really well played there by MeomaikA, ensuring that he still stays on top of whatever MSN is not countering, and MSN improving his walling abilities very, very well.
So with that out of the way, yeah, it's gonna be Golden Horde making it. Because like I was wondering when this is gonna come up, you know, because he had his go at the Mongols, didn't really make sense. I've been curious about MeomaikA with his Golden Horde, considering for him, you know, Mongols was really where the journey began. He was super obsessed with this Civ when he started hopping into AoE4. Golden Horde is different, but there's gonna be like this expectation that he's been grinding the crap out of this Civ above all else of the new ones.
Now, we're finally getting to see what Golden Horde can look like on this map, because I don't know if we've seen a lot of Golden Horde, not at least in the EGC events. Has this been a pick at any point in KP? Okay, never mind.
It's weird.
Okay, reinventing the wheel. Welcome, MeomaikA. We are ready for a little bit of re-education here. Now, MSN on HRE, I feel like this is an olden pick that we have seen back in the day, but also not something that has seen the light of day too much, because usually with HRE, we're used to that arcane play. It takes a while to get going, but at the same time, now we know we don't need that. Arcane is just an added bonus if you decide to go for that on your wood line, making sure that you can take on the fishing plays. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like it's about the civilization winning that fishing war anymore. It's about the shenanigan and how well they've been executed.
Yeah, I think, you know, thinking about this matchup, like I'm curious to see what MeomaikA can do, because like my instincts are saying HRE feel really good, right? Like you've got the Dark Age Rush, and if that doesn't happen, then you just Arhen up and you just pom play. On Horde, their economies, they don't really get anything clearly advantageous on water, right? I'm pretty sure they don't even have the piracy system. I have to double check that one, but I don't think so. So there's not even resources for burning down boats.
So, in this case, HRE versus Golden Horde, brand new for us. It's something I think a lot of pro players haven't even practiced themselves. So MSN and MeomaikA, maybe they are the experts here. But like you said before, Kawasan might be something that MSN is just a little bit more comfortable with. Because when you are part of a team that has a bunch of people you get to practice with, you're always going to do the tournament maps. And this is something he's probably played a million times, just not in the matchup. I guess that's the big question mark that we have left on our heads. But before we just break Kawasan apart, let's just look at that last map and the possible choices that we might have as the lobby is still getting created.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, there is an interesting idea here around the Dark Age. I've been kind of cooking up my brain, and we have seen a little bit, which is the Karash. They are really immobile compared to Dark Age Spearmen, but they are really inexpensive. And their stat, they trade reasonably well considering their cost, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the idea Mio has in mind, is just spam Karash to outnumber the Spearmen.
And honestly, I would love to see that in action because I haven't. And could be quite nice and fresh, but we do have Malians and Byzantines for MSN as well in the next one. So if we eventually do get there, we might see some good choices for MSN. He just needs to survive this. I guess that's the biggest question mark here. Does he get to survive? Now, Kawasan, this is for a lot of you who watch these games. You usually think, okay, I see water. These are the good civilizations on water. But each civilization has their own little bit of gameplay when it comes to those Dark Age shenanigans, making the choice of, do I go water? Do I go spears to shut down the water of the other guy? And HRE is, in my opinion, just a civilization that has more choices in all of that. Golden Horde, like I said, there's a question mark. We don't really know what they do on water, how they look on water. But Kawasan, it's not your standard water experience. There's always something crazy going on.
MeomaikA is a little bit delayed here because he has to download the map.
So
he's very experienced on this map. Very, very experienced.
He's not playing water, is he?
Yeah, I mean, he's so experienced that he just uninstalled it because he kind of got bored of it, you know? That's clearly what's happened here, guys. He just played it more than anyone else.
He just decided, I don't even want to be tempted. Let's just remove it. Exactly.
He's like, I've done everything I need to on this map.
So, now that we are sitting in a moment where we're waiting for the round to get made, we still have Scatterbrained and Sass, and that is going to be a pretty tight one. I think Sassy, for a lot of people, is someone we want to see make it all the way through, because he always makes it just to that qualifying round, every now and again making it through, but not constantly. While Scatterbrained, he comes in, he takes down top players, and then all of a sudden disappears just for a little while. But Scatterbrained, we know he practices with the Russian boys, the Belarusian boys on the rise, so he is a pretty scary opponent to face.
Yeah, I think Sass has been having a little bit of a rougher run of it recently. I can't remember the last KPMM moves in, but maybe it's just the opponents he's running into, getting 3-0'd on occasions. I think, if I remember correctly, the previous qualifier was an abrupt end. I don't think he made it to one of the qualifying sets. I'll have to double check that. So, it could be the big comeuppance. Maybe someone's been figured out and someone's just clicked. Getting a 3-1 over Mahodo is decent. Scatterbrained is the more interesting one to me because you mentioned he's part of that 3D clan cluster. They have interesting ideations on how the game should be played, the way that they think is optimal, especially when you think people like B is that kind of hive mind type effect you have to worry about. The other side of the bracket, we still also have Myriad versus Gully Deckle. Honestly, going into this bracket, I was like, I think Myriad will do it pretty solid. But seeing Gully 3-1 Ayame, I think that's going to be a tight set. Ayame, he's still kind of a pub star type player, hasn't made that full transition into pro play and proven himself. But the strategies he employs on the ladder, and also his scrim partner, like he's signed with Elephants or Team Elephant, right? So he works with Louis a lot. Very talented fella. Just maybe not there yet, or Gully has finally put all the pieces of the puzzle together and is looking the best he ever has.
Oh, we are of course a little bit biased here because seeing Myriad on that list, there is two outcomes for this. If Myriad qualifies, then he does not get to cast as much. If he does not qualify, who will we be seeing on the caster desk? Myriad. And
That's
Twitch chat,
true.
that's the question you gotta ask yourself. Do you want Myriad on the tournament, or do you want him on the caster desk? And the best part is, if Myriad makes it onto the caster desk, he will make it further than most people because he might be casting all the way to the finals. You know?
That is the strategy. That's why I keep pointing out to people.
I used to meme Beastie about that. I was like, hey, I know this tournament didn't go well for you, but at least I made it all the way.
Same. Like my recent one has been like, hey, I mean, guys, I'm not saying I'm better than you at the game, but I do have more Red Bull flags than you.
Just goofing on the boys. Hell yeah. Now, I'm actually surprised we still haven't gotten our lobby yet. These boys are really taking their time just creating it. Okay, so KP, this is where the podcast begins. Okay. So KP. Okay, I was about to... Oh, sorry, I should put it this way. So KP, how are we feeling about the current horse meta? How are the people feeling about the current horse meta?
So it was interesting actually. I recently polled my chat on this, and I thought the ayes would have it, but it was more in favor of the nays.
Repeat that last sentence? I don't think I understood British.
So I put a vote on it, on whether they thought like the horse meta is fun, and I thought the ayes would have it, but it was actually the nays.
Okay, I heard mayonnaise, and I was like,
Mayonnaise.
I was like, the mayonnaise?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my gosh. Okay, no, this makes a lot more sense. Just so you know. Okay. So
Yeah, it was just a really crap joke that has now been over-explained to the point that it's actually not good.
The horses or the mayonnaise here?
Like the horses in mayonnaise, I guess. I don't know. I mean, when you buy from Tesco, you never know what you're going to unwrap.
Now, we do see that game is about to begin 1 minute in. But this is something that I think a lot of players are asking, like, what is the meta? How does this evolve? And we're just seeing like such a focus on cavalry, and cavalry, even today, it just constantly prevails. Now, this gives me a little bit of hope for Sassy as well against in a Scatterbrain series coming up, because when you look at that personality right there, Sassy is known for his horses, so he better use those correctly. But Golden Horde at the same time, right in front of us here, they are just as known for their horses. So I would like to see MeomaikA downloading the map for the very first time. And I know what I do when I download a map for the very first time. I ignore water and I see how far the land's going to get me. So MeomaikA just playing a good all land push and see how it goes from there. Hopefully overwhelming his opponent, even with fishing eco. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are finally ready, right? He has found the lobby. I'm just like the things we're seeing behind the scenes, like the names given to the lobby, bless him, so you can find it. I wonder if MeomaikA like took an extra minute or two just to render the map a few times, like, or hear me out. This is the biggest, most genius bait, and now MSN thinks that MeomaikA has no idea about this map when he's actually a master of it. Let's see as we hop in to Kawasan for game number 4.
So when I look at this little bit of a play style here from MSN, already going for our good old barracks, makes sense. We want to shut down whatever comes our way, and he will be able to burn down that, if that's what he desired. We see MeomaikA not even thinking about water for a second. He's like, water? There's water on this map? I saw the blue dots, but I thought it was like decorative. And MSN now making units for something that is not even going to matter. I guess the Uwu burning down might be worth it. But is it worth it for Golden Horde?
It's a case of like whether you can burn it down fast enough, right? Like it'll always come down to that. Like if it takes you 3 or 4 minutes, less so. MeomaikA, the negative, of course, if you do lose your Uvu is, Tortugud's not really on the menu, so that landmark choice feels a little bit flimsy, and the alternative feels really sucky. Like, I've seen games where someone will clearly not have stone access, they still choose Khan and Tortugud just because of how bad the alternative feels.
Now, when I look at my Golden Horde early game, am I going to be able to actually handle if my gold gets shut down? Now, MSN, he hasn't overinvested at all into spears, but he decides, hey, this man isn't going for water, maybe I should. And it's quite funny because he's already gotten so far into the game, making a barracks, making 2 spears. He's still in the Dark Age rodeo, now going for his dock finally. But you see the villager putting it down, but I fear that this is going to be delaying him so much. Is this not just a little bit too dangerous?
I mean, the idea that this is going to delay too much, right? Like, for HRE, they can just inflate really quick. I think for MeomaikA, you just need to rush the gold, like yesterday. This is not looking pretty. Please tell me he's got enough in the drop-off. Okay, so he does pay him underneath the TC. Because, like, the awkward thing here that can usually happen is with HRE's extra movement speed, they can easily just shift away before you shift, which is why, like, 2 spearmen isn't crazy bad. This fishing idea afterwards, like, I don't mind it as long as it's not too much fishing, right? Like, if you're 20-plus workers on land, then you've lost too much efficiency on the prelate. So, like, the timings can make sense here. I think what's important for MSN is to just keep an eye out for which pond MeomaikA is going to be going for. Because realistically, Golden Horde don't have any clear advantage towards water play at the beginning.
Now, he is going to be able to get that age up. I mean, I was going to say first, but at the same time, Golden Horde takes a very long time to age up. So when he starts clicking this up, it's still going to take quite a while to actually go on through. This gives MSN time to actually do that transition, and just like you predicted here, he doesn't invest too much onto the fishing, and he goes for the gold already. So Khan and Tortugud's a minute and a half from aging up. That means that MSN is just going to be a little bit behind.
Yeah, and he keeps his Uvu, because, like, 2 spears are never going to get through that quick enough for it to feel great. He's just going to focus on trying to intercept the worker when they come out. But MeomaikA, usually what helps you kind of gauge where you can move out quickly is a scout, which he does have. Right? Pretty sure. Yep. Okay, there we go. Well, this guy is so subtle and secretive. You will not even see him on the bar.
No, he needs to keep his identity secret for the Khan that will potentially follow. So the
No, stop looking at him. Stop looking at him. You're revealing his identity right now.
He might appear. Who knows? Now the Arcane Chapel clicked up, and honestly, at a pretty decent timing, considering he went for barracks and for a dock. So Arcane Chapel coming in, which is literally just after Khan and the Tortugud's gonna finish. That must feel pretty good. MeomaikA now transitioning onto water himself, but he's going to be met with a little surprise, and that surprise gets spotted by a scout. So they do move up a little bit deeper, trying to put that down. MSN not going to be stopping those villagers too easily.
Yeah, I mean, that spearman on his own was struggle against double worker here anyway. The other one, I think, is why MeomaikA is showing respect, because it could move across, and he actually did see it.
Villagers fighting back, shivs out, they get a shot off, and shivs out again. Another shot off, and that spearman is as good as cooked, but a villager is peppered up quite nicely.
Second spear is coming over now, so you might be able to just commit in for a dive to get at least 1 kill. First of the Tortugud have been queued up. Actually, I think it's going to be the Khan coming first, usually is. These spears, I mean, there is a way you get a kill out of this, actually. Like that. That would be exactly how you do. He actually says, fine, one-on-one, I don't mind that. No. Mio needs to be careful, because this could actually just be a double. This is a double. Oh, God.
Oh, he gets a spearman, but it's definitely not worth it. Villager needs to back off. And the Khan is out. So the Khan will be able to take down this one little... Never mind. You may live.
He has suffered enough.
A villager
I only challenge worthy opponents. No, he's like, I only challenge worthy opponents, like unarmed workers.
When they have big sticks, we are not going to be fighting any of those. Ooh, unfortunately, he right-clicked the dock, and a few of those shots just went all for nothing. More docks coming in from MeomaikA. This man, he knows how to play water theoretically. He just needs to put it into practice now. Double Dow coming in. And,
She means double down
I'm
on
very
this.
surprised.
Yeah. Are you surprised by the fact that he's trying to do both ponds at the same time?
That too, but also the fact that we have two of the same ship that doesn't really work too well, especially with the obvious follow-up of the Springhold following. And now that dock is getting a few arrows at a time, but it's not going to be enough, and quickly these ships are going to fall
Why
fast.
is he
And
not
now,
healing?
what then?
Why is it like? But he didn't even pull them back to heal. Is the weirder part.
He doesn't know about the healing.
He's
most
he's
likely.
building an America. He's building another
Another
archer ship.
No. No!
He's building more archer ships.
I know he's going to lose villagers. One more going down.
What?
Cancelling the dock. Oh, he gets his Springhold ship. He gets his Springhold ship. He gets his Springhold ship. He's coming in, boys. Give him time. Give him time. He's cooking. And
We will
another,
eventually
and
kill
now
him.
we have some horses from the land going to be doing this. MSN. If he loses this, this is going to go on his... This is going to be as bad as when he stole my milkshake. I'm going to make memes about this one. So, yeah. MSN, for the sake of your milkshake reputation, I would suggest you win this one. And do not lose against the man who made the double ship that you counter directly. But the Springhold ship against Springhold ship action, it is going to go down finally. And MSN is finally getting a little demo.
It should not really be necessary, but screw it. Archer ship does get taken out. Somehow, double downing an archer ships worked to the point that Emerson's brain got a little bit fried about what he was meant to be facing. However, the dock is still here, and we do have to remember that MSN has fishing. MeomaikA has none.
Now, there's a lot more going on. There's horses being raiding at the back. So while we're watching this wonderful water game, we can also see that horses ran through. And I don't know if they killed anything or if those villagers were from somewhere else. But I assume they got some good loot. Now, the demo ship goes right into the face of MSN as his attention is a slight bit split here, trying to stay up to date to it all. Now he gets wheelbarrow, and this tells me that yes, he did lose a villager to these, because when you get wheelbarrow right after, that usually tells me, hey, there was a raid, the raid was successful, I'm going to try and learn from this. Because MSN, he knows what happens with MeomaikA, he's just going to keep making horses, and it's going to keep being hard. So, these villagers now trying to get as much wood as they can, but well, how long until the horsemen just make this almost, or the cavalry makes this almost impossible?
I think the bigger problem here is like at this pacing, MSN should just start lobbing spears with ease. Like it's still 6 fishing on the other side. Okay, so we have got Mio finally getting his own fishing online, which is really what's been missing here. The Tortugud are in theory really good at taking down docks. They're very, very tanky. But like the problem is, you know, they don't sustain. You have to think of it as big health pool, but won't regenerate sort of logic, right? It's a bit like Ridari versus, you know, Camel Lancers. Like one's going to get healed up, the other one's eventually going to die. It's just, it takes a long time to die and are pretty good. I do wonder if there's a better use than attacking docks, though. And it seems that MeomaikA is feeling the same way. He's trying to shift towards the land eco. MSN isn't overextending with those spears.
Now it does look, these spears are going to be chasing, but the thing is, when your horses just run faster, they're going to keep being able to get a charge off on villagers, and that's exactly where they're going right now. Tower's not finished, so they might be able to get some damage, but luckily the spears are close enough for them to run the other way. But we do see a lot more villagers now on the gold. And with MSN having all this water, he might feel pretty much okay with just going for castle from here and trying to go for a little bit of a... Yeah, the problem
This is interesting.
MeomaikA.
Because MeomaikA may have pulled the trigger, but think about how quick you can now gather for a tech for MSN. This is going to be a relic race.
Now, with the horses, though, it should be easier to take down anything in the dare steps near these relics. But again, the horses going for their charge because they can. We are just not able to shut them down every time, but he doesn't get Too much here.
I don't think he got any kills there, right? Like, the health bar's low, but no bodies on the floor, so he'll just keep rotating around. Like, the idle time does matter here. You need it, because Golden Horde are really slowing their tech up. There's no way to actually amplify the speed at which they reach the next stage.
And it does look like these villagers are trying their best at just making this a little bit safer for themselves. But the problem is those horses are going to be so much harder to kill as the time goes on. Because now your goal at the back, it has one tower on it. You now need to be out on the map to try and get those relics. Is MeomaikA even going to give him a little bit of breathing room to move out? We only have one prelate, so MSN, he's going to need to be very intentional about those movements.
Yeah, I think MSN, like, it's a bit difficult to spread wide here. The good news is right now, MeomaikA's make it simple for you. Just sends all of his cavalry into one location. But we can see he's starting to scale up a little bit higher. It's not going to remain that way for long. You have to start figuring out a way of lobbing spears fast. It almost seems like MSN instead just wants to try and mirror knights.
And mirroring knights, it feels okay in most instances, but I'm a little bit worried about that, just purely because of how well MeomaikA has been able to control his. And just like this, he might just stop the age up at such a critical time. Oh, never mind. He wants to attack the house first.
Oh.
Villager finally gonna go down. Another one getting a little stepsister stuck here. And a few more here at the back. They were chasing KP.
Yeah, but why were they chasing this wide? MSN, a disastrous moment. Oh my god. I mean, he's got fishing to try and pad himself against this, but the Regnants are still not up. The workers are flopping dead. This is grim tidings. Look at what's happening. MeomaikA is also now prepping relics. Double Monk has been queued up. You haven't even got the capacity to pick them up yet. He tries to sneak a few workers out. The villagers are finally going to have some protection from the spears, but this is the thing I think that people forget. Those Torgud, that Khan, they all automatically got their stats juiced up the moment Age 3 hit.
And MSN losing 12 villagers total. This doesn't feel good. MeomaikA, he's turning the tables, having already a few rust tributes paying a visit here to the boys. Idle time galore coming out for MSN here. And he doesn't have the goal to even make anything except those 3 knights that he just queued up. But are they going to be enough? More villagers, more idle time. We just see constantly villagers running around. And now the question is, are there going to be any relics for MSN? But it doesn't look like MeomaikA has picked up anything just yet.
It's going to take time to get out there, right? But there is a really cool strategy where you just insta-drop the relics to get the stone generation and go for deeper ones. The speed of going in deep. I mean, remember, these tributaries, they get bonus against knights. And it's also just a way of insulating yourself against the spears. So it's actually pretty effective. And Torgud just remaining against a handful of spearmen that just are not getting upgraded. I mean, he has at least brought 1 relic home. The damage is kind of insurmountable here, right? Remember, MSN, look at that fishing count. The count 21 to 8 fishing boats, and yet he's neck and neck on economy.
The problem with those fishing boats is he has too many fishing boats in that pond, and we know what that means. This just means those fishing boats are going to overfish, and they're going to go idle for a lot of it. So they're not even going to be as effective as having, 21 fishing boats. This is going to get more and more tough as the time goes on. MeomaikA now, he is in a good spot to decide what happens next. Let's just see if he decides he's going to, pick up relics and make it work. But MSN now still only having 1 in the base. He does feel pretty good about himself here, but... Oh, MeomaikA does, but he needs to be careful not to lose all his units as well. But we do see Golden Horde is going for a different type of cavalry from here on out.
What? Kipchak? I mean, this is not the first time we've seen them in this qualifier. They actually were leveraged by Corvinus in his series up against Lash yesterday, and they had some decent hits in there. It was kind of worth it just for the raiding potential. Like, that's the thing. You have to think of these units as not broken anymore. They fixed the splash damage, but they are still horseback Chugnu.
And they do get out of control at some point. In the right mass, very, very easily. The Kipchak, let's see them chasing down. They do want to get that scout, apparently. Oh, no, never mind. Those were just normal horses. Oh, my goodness. KP, do all horses look the same?
I think that's a bit of prejudice against them, to be honest with you. I mean, I feel like horses have unique identities and personalities. But what I am noticing is that there's a lot
not
more.
On the UI.
Yeah, they were before, and then they disappeared, and then I think they came back, and then they disappeared again. It's best not to question these things, really. It
That's
keeps
why I
the
was like,
game
oh, the
in
Kipchak.
suspense, you know? Never
Game
know what's going
leaving
to happen.
us. Yeah, it leaves us with a lot of surprises. But now, MSN has secured those 2 relics, so this being like 4 relics is great. The thing is just, I don't think it's enough to make up for the losses that he'd faced earlier. But luckily, with all these knights, he should be able to launch a pretty heavy counterattack. Now, the crossbows that we do see here from MeomaikA, that's going to be great, but they do need a front line. And from what I can see in front of my screen and not on the UI, there is no front line.
It's because it's hiding from us. The knight lead is pretty impressive. I mean, it's the type of game where you wish you'd actually found a way to get mine work instead, right? But Arhan was too critical to the early game. The archer detail is like quite intriguing to me. Maybe he was just raw expecting spears, considering he had so many knights. It will be decent against Kipchak, so I just think once you see Kipchak, like, the way these 2 comps are playing, MeomaikA is just all about constant pressure. So MSN has to take a more defensive alignment, and you see what happens earlier on when he doesn't take the defensive line. He does get punished.
And the problem is, if he loses water here, every bit of income that he has is also going to be under duress. He doesn't have the ships to even defend this if they do decide to commit. But luckily, the knights are in position, and now we do see some red dots there in the south. And is MSN doing some backdoor shenanigans? Down, down, down. Towards the deer pack.
Oh.
Backdoor shenanigans. I know this. I do this all the time, except it doesn't go as well for me as it might go for MSN here.
It's kind of interesting that he chooses stables there, though, right? Like the unit type that could actually get around there naturally anyway. Usually we see this with, like, for example, Rax play with HRE would be pretty sick. So maybe he'll kind of thicken it out and get multiple units in there. I like the thought process here. He needs to be careful what's happening over here. He's been over-gathering for a while, so you now see he's going to the shoreline fish. So eventually, like, the amount of fishing boats here is going to feel unsustainable, whereas MeomaikA has been a bit more tame. 12 compared to the 21.
And 12 should work out pretty perfectly. When you usually have 1 deep sea fish, I believe the amount of boats you can have on it is 3, depending on how close it is. So it does work out perfectly here with the 4 deep sea fish. But now we have spearmen in MeomaikA's mix. They're being added in now, but we'll see if that's going to be enough to deal with 22 knights. You have to keep in mind that MSN with its 31 archers, we still have to see how that plays out against the Kipchaks.
Uh-oh. MeomaikA's a selectable army boy. He's not chasing that knight anymore.
Oh.
He's fully fixated on this. Now the Kipchaks, they need to be trading the squishy targets. I feel like they might actually just be hitting knights here, which isn't ideal. Then again, it's mostly just archers, so I guess if you're able to clear out the knight line, the Tortugude will just win the game for you. His crossbows do shift away, far away from the archers, just to try and snipe down the heavily armored cavalry. But the west side of the fight looking grim. MeomaikA is going to need to retreat away. MSN should have the firepower to re-secure his base.
And this was massive for MSN, because this is most likely the last fight he's going to have without having his reinforced towers. Because now, slowly but surely, those towers are going to get upgraded. They're going to start expanding everywhere. And HRE gets to do something we all hate, and that's go Imperial and just get back up with all those villagers. But apparently, that's not even going to be needed. MeomaikA is starving, he says, being out here all the way with the villagers. He might be in a lot of danger to lose out a ton here and equalize the villager count. Oh, never mind, not too badly.
Yeah, he'll be able to shift away, Meo. A little bit slow on the reaction there. We'll force him to defend again. It's a bit weird to see this. I mean, yes, there's an expense to it, but most of the time, Goldenhorn players just build all their stockyards. They don't do this. I get why he feels he needs to, but, you know, the safety, the security, the condensed economy, also the scaling is just so good on those stockyards.
But I feel like MSN is making the same mistake he did the previous game. He's just going into archers, again, against a very heavy cavalry composition. This feels so tough. He sees his opponent is an A-clicker and still decides to go for the archers, where MSN needs to micro a lot harder than the opponent. The tower here might be the reinforcement he needs, but this composition is very dangerous for MSN to stick to.
It's so awkward to try and actually get on top of the HRE, though, right? Due to that movement speed advantage. So MeomaikA just has to spend so long diving. He is prepping Karash to add into the formation. Would love to see him actually going towards Karash Edict. I wonder if he has, considering his stone numbers don't fully make sense. Like, he's got 5 Uvus. He should be having some big techs coming in soon, but the numbers aren't holding high on overall stone. So dive will reset. Seriously, what has he done with this stone? It can't just be Tortugud. Apparently it is. Pretty much just Tortugud.
Now, the issue here is, it feels like MeomaikA had an opportunity here to win the game by just holding back and letting his eco do the talking. And instead, he's taking all these risks, diving deep, winning a fight, being able to push in, and then diving in yet again to lose all his units. So, MSN, as long as he plays it safe and keeps reinforcing, he might be okay.
Yeah, I mean, to put it another way, he said let his eco do the talking. Instead, he chose the ego to do the talking. And, you know, the problem here is this comp. Think of it the same way and give it the same respect you would to Japan with Yumi and Mount Samurai, because it has the same movement speed. That's a critical ingredient. It doesn't give you much breathing room to kind of resecure if you start to falter or fail. I'm still wondering like how we didn't get towards some big techs though. With like 400 stone income a minute, it should have been the bread and butter for me and Micah. Like batch production here would have been insane.
Okay, but you know how he didn't play Kawa-san before this?
Yeah.
What if the Golden Horde text is something he's never researched?
I wondered if you were going to go there. So you know, we scaled from never played Kawa-san to never played Golden Horde.
No.
And
Play
MSN
Golden
has
Horde,
never fought DAOs before. What the hell? That's a bold trade, Colin. I think it mathematically works out okay, though.
Yes, definitely. Because now what he gets to do is he gets to dock. Because look at that south part of that pond. He wanted to get rid of all those military ships, pull them up, so that he gets to make the counterplay. And that's exactly what's happening here. MSN, the sneaky little goose, stealer of milkshakes, and also destroyer of fishing egos. His own included.
I mean, you know, you say stealer of milkshakes. You know, just like this pond, he's going to feel like he earned that milkshake.
Just like he earned putting that keep down.
What the hell is that castle? Oh, God. Oh, no.
That was expensive. That was so expensive. Him just sacrificing all of it. But it looks like there's going to be a fight here. And now Men-at-Arms being a pretty big part of this composition. The Knights are going to be enough to just try and fight backwards here. But all that stone being gone, this could have been a ton of emplacements.
And he's lucky it wasn't a complete butchering of all workers in the vicinity. MSN will just have to reset her off this one. Now, we do have mass Men-at-Arms strats coming in, but MSN is trying to contest this with crossbowmen, so he heads to the right idea. But we are also seeing Sarai Lancers coming in. This is going to give the Keshik healing effect to all of those chunky Torguds. So all of a sudden, an increase in DPS as well as sustain for MeomaikA's bulky front line.
The problem is, it doesn't look like MSN is target firing those spears. He's just trying to keep the Knights back for now. The villagers, he's also trying to micro them, but they are going to be cooked if he does not manage this correctly. The Knights are the ones all the way to the back. Archers getting picked off one by one. He needs to find a way to get those on the front line to do the work. He's just trying to reinforce with crossbows.
This is difficult. Like the worker count, you have to remember, MSN's got what, 25 workers not working. His economy is crippled, and now the second wave comes in towards the farm area while the entire army is distracted over here. MSN's eco is nowhere near strong. This is getting worrisome. MeomaikA, when he just lost water, finds some sort of boon, a recovery arc on land to now try and strangle the Dane out.
He needs to find a way to snipe these spears, and he's just not attack moving here. Desperately trying to keep these Knights alive, but it just is showing as a bit too much. And honestly, just that key placement may have been the one costing him the game finally. You see him trying to pull them out as far as possible. The relic being inside. Oh, he's trying to merge
I'll do one better.
There's so many. What?
This probably hurts his game more. Those villagers have been standing there for like 2 minutes. He has not microed them onto a tree line. He's a half eco, even though he's not being raided still. Like, the castle was one thing, but this truly takes the cake.
Because with that, he just can't make units constantly. He's trying to pick off what he can. These Rus tributes, I believe. Oh, no, those are Men-at-Arms. They do suck up quite a bit of damage here, but there's so many horses. they are going to be in a pretty tough spot. He's going to try to get a pretty good connection here, but the archers, they have one goal, and that's getting rid of the spears, so they don't just make sure that all these knights disappear. A little bit of a choke point here, and he should be able to get these focus fire pretty well, but the spearmen break through, and quickly again, MSN is the one struggling to micro.
He doesn't have any breathing room here. We're now like, what, 3-4 minutes for those villagers still not moving? He did raid the stockyards of MeomaikA temporarily, a little bit of frustration there, but he reacted accordingly and got back to gathering. Like, his economy is still fully active. And there you go. Look at the snoozer there. 42 out of 57 are not working. He now goes in for the burn on the fishing boats. Demo ship coming out, though. Meo, what? I don't know if that matters. Honestly, it's painful, but the idle eco of MSN that is still not moving in that corner is a bigger deal than a demo wall up like that.
And MSN, being his own worst enemy this game, actually succumbs to MeomaikA, who's played this map for the first time in his life.
Ready to rub it in there. A 3-1 victory. MeomaikA will qualify to the road to Red Bull Wololo. MSN will have to wait another year and a half.
Oh, are you confirming the next date for Wololo?
Yeah. My dad works at Microsoft. I've got all the insights.
Now, this was a pretty back and forth one. MeomaikA clearly showing us, like, yes, this is not something he's comfortable with, but he knows how to play land and he knows how to raid. So I think with MSN this game, again, we're seeing the susceptibility to these horses. Every single time the opponent goes for horses, the raids can be overwhelming. And that's what a lot of people are experiencing. We'll see if that's going to be the case for the next series, as MeomaikA, he slid his way in all the way. And I'm so proud of seeing a Vietnamese player make it to the top 16 to face off against these top players for that spot in the UK.
Only 4 can emerge. And MeomaikA, when he's on form, his style is so polarizing that he could do it, right? Like, you know, B isn't obviously playing in this Road to Red Bull Wololo. MeomaikA may be the shoe-in for that type of style. Like, the polarizing gameplay, that he just doesn't follow the script. It doesn't make sense. He catches you off guard. And, you know, we've seen that even the best can fall victim to that type of play. So definitely excited to see it. If nothing else on the road to Red Bull Wololo, I'm sure he'll give us another memorable moment like the 120 night game.
And we are ready for it. But guys, that will mean we are done with Series 2. And next up, KP, who's going to be next up? Do you know?
Oh, it's a fun one. We've got Myriad versus Gully Deckles. So we're going to be able to confirm whether one of the youngest competing for will be able to be on the road to Red Bull Wololo. And as a result, whether we'll have an extra caster.
And Gully now needs to solidify a little bit of a young presence as... How old is Gully right now? 17?
I think he might be 17. 16, 17. He's very, very young, yeah.
So he is 17, it has been confirmed. And MSN at 16. Those were our 2 youngest players here. And MSN, honestly, making it very far. Really amazing to see the kids these days among all of our boomers playing this video game at high levels, innit? So, very nice to see them make it all the way here to the top. But
I think he should blame his fellow Nordics, right? Because like 4 of them already qualified, so like, you know, a 5th one was a bit overkill. They had to kind of like, you know, had to peel that one back and balance it out. We need some Asian representation, right? Like Scarlet didn't make it. MeomaikA now has. I think, like, is that one total Asian player that's going to be there in the road to Red Bull? I think it is. So yeah, at least they got some flag to wave over there, which is nice to see. Like, it was kind of shocking that Louis wasn't going to be playing in this, and then obviously Ayame wasn't able to deliver, and then Scarlet. You want them to have someone to cheer for. Like, I hate it when it's just European dominant.